Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. I think this is episode 415, and my name is James Farley, and I'm here with Sean Bell
Hello.
and Matt Murray.
Hello.
And also joining us, because Dave isn't here, is Sarah Dyer. Hi Sarah, how are you going?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I mean, we've had a bit of a problems with
bit of
with
a
the start of the podcast.
We have had problems.
Just some minor technical,
Just a
minor
bit of a
technical
problem.
issues.
I know, and I mean, if you're watching this on YouTube or whatever, then you will be noticing that my video is quite out of sync at the moment. There's nothing I can do with that at the moment, so just deal with it.
And trust,
Is all I can say
trust
at
him.
the moment.
We've
Yeah.
tried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It will all be fine, but everything's going to be totally fine. First of all, I think as we start the show, we're going to start with the Patreon producers for this month. So, Aaron Patrick, the Quick Looks chap, Simon Nelson, Moomin Biscuit, Trans Rights Are Human Rights, Dave Ernsberger, Colm Brown, Gasman, Rocketman 76, Smooth Monkey, Richard Sawyer, John Tempelli, Jackie Sniper, Sam Higton, Tom S, Stan, Philip with an F, Cutty, Steve Lee, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Man, Tri-State, and Jack Oven. Thank you very much for supporting us. We very much appreciate it. It's really good. And if you want to, you can go to patreon.com/TCGS. Is it TCGS Co, Matt? Come on, you can help me out here.
/TCGS.
Right, okay, so this one's /TCGS, and yeah, you can support us at different tiers, and we really appreciate it. It's great. So
It is great.
first of all, it's really great.
It's
I mean,
actually really fucking
I mean,
great. Yeah, I've got to admit, it's
Yeah.
great.
My
We-
car's
we-
been in the garage this week. It's not a fun story. It's not an interesting story. But the crucial point is, were it not for the Patreon money, I would be fucked. So cheers everyone for that. I don't know how I'm going to pay HMRC in January, but that's another matter for another time.
Cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah,
It's-
exactly. It's fine.
It'll be
That's a
fine.
problem for future Sean. It's fine. It's all right.
So, Matt, have you got any feedback? I mean, actually, first of all, Sarah, have you? I mean, hopefully you've listened to the last couple of shows. Have you got any
Don't
feedback
put
for
her
us
on
at all?
under the spotlight like that. That's not fair.
Well, why not?
She might not have had a chance to listen.
No, I
I just said
have.
if you have.
I have. I can't remember anything.
Yeah, that does
That's even
happen.
worse. Just say you've not listened to it.
No,
Just say, "Oh, I have, but it was completely unmemorable."
I genuinely have. I genuinely have. Hang on. I can prove it and everything.
That's fine. We don't need receipts.
Yeah, we don't need receipts, but just
Oh no, I feel like
Okay, while-
my support and my what's the word? My credibility. I can't think of the word.
Shall I go into feedback?
Okay,
I think I'll go into
while you're
feedback.
doing that,
Yep.
let's go to Matt. I mean, Matt, you don't need to take over. Okay, I'm still in charge here, so just,
sorry.
you don't need to start suggesting what's going on. You just
No, okay. I'll just.
But
You
Matt,
tell me when,
can you,
you tell me when
can
to
you-
come in. And I'll,
okay. So Matt, can you give us some feedback while Sarah's looking at her phone?
yes.
There you go. Look.
Oh, well, yeah. So
Raw
share.
believe
dogging
you.
the toilet.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
certainly the name of the
that's
last episode. Yeah, for sure. There's,
Yeah.
Incredibly, yes.
there's no proof there, but that's certainly the name of
One-
an episode we've released.
1 minute left.
Okay, Matt.
Oh, you
Matt,
haven't
Matt's
listened to all of
feedback.
it then, so you are a liar. You said all of it.
Skip the outro theme.
Yeah.
Maybe the socials.
Fuck's sake.
No, one minute left. I'm pretty sure that left.
I think that is just the
The
music.
socials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no. It's a too many outro. Right, I'm going to move on to feedback. Is that okay, host?
Yeah, go get on with it, Matt.
Okay. J. Quesada, Drive 3R. I politely told him to stop, and okay, so this is last week where I believe it must be the same person said that I believe their partner was pronouncing the game Driver as Drive 3R.
Well, yeah, Driver 3. Yeah, they're pronouncing it. Because that is how it's written on the box. And yeah, the partner was like doing it as a joke, but no one was laughing, so they kept doing it repeatedly.
Reading into it, yeah.
Yeah.
So Drive 3R. I politely told him to stop and even played him the section of last week's show with James saying it's not okay to call it Driv 3R. I even said you're better than that to lighten the mood, but he ended up dumping me. He mentioned glass houses and all that since I've been known to insist on playing the god-awful Wipeout soundtrack whenever we've had dinner at my flat to set the mood. Oh well. Well, I do
Set the mood for
apologise.
what? Set the mood for what exactly? What does...
Hot racing. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway.
To be fair, yeah, I can't imagine Wipeout at the dinner table. That seems. I don't know.
I mean, I probably could actually.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's building up, isn't it? To like, it must be quite an amazing dinner. If it's like, if you've got all those tunes banging, like going on.
Prodigy. Right.
Yeah.
Prodigy and Wipeout 1, right?
Possibly. There's a house, wasn't it?
Let's say.
Didn't it bring dance music to the UK?
Yes, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Famously.
Well, we're very sorry about your relationship ending. Because
Yeah,
harder,
that is
but
a shame. Well, it sounds like you might be better off though.
yeah, I think you know. On to the next one now.
Yeah. Move on.
And the investigator has messaged James. I think it's pretty safe to say that they want to hear the quote. After listening for several years, I can't recall a time where they declined to hear the quote. But it's not just a redundant question. You need to take charge. You are the news goblin. You don't ask for permission to read the quote. You tell those three that they're about to hear a quote, so they better buckle up.
Oh no, see, I always appreciate James asking, "Do you want to hear the quote?" It's just polite.
It's polite and it is just like an amusing sort of, I don't know,
Quirk.
catchphrase is
Yeah.
but it's
I mean, it's also because sometimes the quotes are really long and boring. So I'm always, I'm never sure with David whether he really wants me to read it or not. So I like to give him the out of like being able to say no if he
no,
doesn't want
thanks.
to.
I think
Yeah.
we're probably, but at this point we could probably generate a list of people from whom we probably don't want to hear the quote anymore.
We've heard the quote before.
Or you already know what the quote is going to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're thinking Ubisoft, presumably.
Ubisoft, couple of Microsoft guys.
Yeah,
who probably-
Microsoft
yeah.
was
Yeah.
who I
Couple-
had
couple of Sony
in
people.
mind.
No one for Nintendo though. No one for Nintendo. We'd love to hear their quotes.
No, that's fine.
Love that, baby. Anonymous, probably not that anonymous, has messaged feedback. Hey folks, long time listener, first time writer here. Regarding last week's story / allegations that some journalists were flown out for a cheeky holiday to preview Star Wars Outlaws, I thought you might like to know that a very similar thing happened in the preview period for Jedi Survivor. I personally know of several journalists who were flown out to LA to preview Jedi Survivor a few months before its release. Part of the trip involved a free all-day trip to Disneyland with all the journalists given their own lightsaber from Galaxy's Edge. Cameron Monaghan, the actor who plays Cal Kestis, also showed up at the after party for the event. These events are much
worth it.
These events are much rarer these days for press, with that budget usually reserved for influencers instead. That said, in my experience, journalists involved tend to retain their professional reputations when it comes to critically reviewing these products. Either way, I thought it was worth mentioning that when it comes to comparing Metacritic scores of Outlaws versus Survivor, best of luck, Matt and James. May the best game win.
Does that mean that they cancel
So
each other out then, right? If
Yeah,
Yeah,
they-
so
does this
it-
mean it's like a level playing field
Yeah.
again?
Yeah.
So
They've used
if-
the same underhand tactics.
So when Outlaws does get 9s and 10s, or mostly 10s, it's like, look, happened for the other one, and look at that piece of trash.
Fair and square.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
That's it for feedback. It's a short one this week. I mean, there was loads of feedback about Dave,
yeah,
but
that's the thing, yeah,
he's not here.
There was quite a bit, but yeah, there's a lot of it mentions Dave. So
Mostly slagging him off, I think, but which I think is out of order. But I do get it. I do get
Really?
it.
I thought it was kind of understandable. Yeah, it was.
Well, yeah,
I mean, quite
there was-
fair. Some of the
Yeah,
comments
that
were
one with all the swear
as well.
words. I did. I was like, yeah, amen to that actually. Yeah, anyway, so that is it for feedback. Go to tcgs.co/deartcgs. Leave your feedback.
Well, it's in that case, it's now time for the news with me. So I thought we'd shift to that.
With your host,
Anyway,
I am.
yeah. Sorry. Anyway, first news story. So this is about Black Myth Wukong, and it's related to the marketing team, who have been offering content creators a Steam key, but also some instructions about how they're supposed to sort of maybe not review the game, but the things they're supposed to mention and not mention. So this was an email that was sent to content creators. It was over the last weekend, and this has now been verified as being real by IGN, and also Eurogamer said that they've seen the same sort of evidence as well. And the email includes this Steam key and the pre-download of the game for PC, and also this Google document that has it says do's and don'ts for content creators. The do's have got one thing in the category, which is enjoy the game. So people are supposed to
Will do.
enjoy the game.
Yeah, lovely old
which
job.
is-
Yeah.
It's good instructions.
10.
The don'ts. IGN China gave it a 10, which is not really a surprise. And then the don'ts, though, bit more extensive. So first of all, we had do not insult other influencers or players. That's fine.
That's fair,
That was
I think.
reasonable. Yeah, it's reasonable not to insult people. Do not use any offensive language or humour. And then also, do not include politics, violence, nudity, feminist propaganda, fetishization, and other content that instigates negative discourse. Presumably, this is negative discourse about the game, rather than just negative discourse in general, I think. And then also, do not use trigger words such as quarantine or isolation or COVID-19. And then also, do not discuss content related to China's games industry policies, opinions, news, etc. So, that's
Weird.
a bit kind of. I mean, some things sound kind of specific to this particular game and the studio, going on previous IGN reporting that's been done. The stuff related to quarantine,
Yeah, I was
isolation,
going to ask about
COVID-19.
that. That feels a bit out there.
That's almost certainly because of like delays that the game had, I think, which were probably COVID-19 related. But China likes to pretend that everything was brilliant during COVID-19 in China, so nothing was delayed, everything was brilliant. So that's why they probably don't want to mention, particularly words like quarantine or isolation, given that people were literally welded into houses.
So you can say it got delayed by a massive worldwide pandemic, but you can't say those words. I mean, it says such as. I mean, I think
Yeah, I think that,
Yeah, to suggest there are other terms you can't use. Yeah.
It's also like I don't really know why this is, and I don't really have like a theory for it. But the fact that it's like, don't talk about these topics, and it's things like, you know, the violence, the feminist propaganda, blah blah blah, and then it says also don't use these trigger words. Like it's
they're
weird.
trigger words for the Chinese government.
Yeah.
That's what they are.
Yeah, not for anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously,
also
further context for this is obviously, there've been the accusations of sexism at the studio, which have just not really been addressed in any way. People have tried, journalists have tried asking about, any follow up, and apparently just gets shut down by PR immediately. I mean, say what you want about Ubisoft, etc., but at least they pretend to care. This just seems like they just want to stamp it out and ignore it. So yeah, it's really gross.
Yeah, I mean, the other stuff like games industry policies, that'll be things like the game registrations and stuff like that, and also in terms of things like politics and opinions and news, it makes sense because they almost certainly just don't want anything that's related to Chinese government policy or anything to be discussed in case they get in trouble. That's almost certainly what that's about. So yeah, that's understandable, but not in a great way, but it is understandable why they've done it.
Because the game's reviewing well, isn't it? I think.
Yeah,
I mean,
which isn't to say this is fine. It's just but despite that, because of all this, I've no interest in playing it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's had like 7s and 8s and things like that, but I mean, I don't really feel desperate to play it either. I mean, after we'd heard all the other news before, it wasn't really something I was particularly jazzed about. But it's a shame when you get stuff like this, because it also demonstrates, for me, it demonstrates some of the distance that there is still with game developers in different parts of the world. They have different agendas and different things that they have to follow, and it's difficult, I think, for that.
Yeah.
Okay, next story is that, I mean, this is a bit of a problem because this week there's very little news. Nothing has happened. It's been a really thin week.
I think they're all saving all news for Gamescom, aren't they? Which is this week.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, which is a bit of a nuisance for us. But anyway, hopes are fading for the Switch 2 launch in early 2025. So it seems that developers have been told not to expect Switch 2 from the current financial year, which ends on the 31st of March. So it looks like April is now the earliest that it's likely to arrive. And Nintendo just said they're going to make an announcement about the successors to Nintendo Switch within the fiscal year. So there will be an announcement, but we're not going to see it until quite some time, which is a bit disappointing and annoying. Matt, what do you think?
I know we always I think everyone's assumed, okay, so announcement this year and now in like March next year to ape the Switch. So maybe that's still the case, and maybe it's just been delayed, or maybe actual release has been delayed. But I still think surely we'll hear something about it this year, or would that just cannibalize Switch sales over Christmas? I don't know. I mean,
surely they're not banking on a huge number of sales. Because also as well, it's like, say they announce Switch 2. See, I'm thinking maybe Tokyo Game Show, end of September. What you could then do is say it is going to come out, April, maybe even May 2025. For Christmas, you could then just announce like a pretty decent price cut on the existing Switch, because then that also helps you kind of sell through some stock.
Yeah.
Ready for the new one. So like that could still line up.
I mean, could it be that they just haven't? Maybe the games aren't ready yet that they want to launch with. Like maybe that's also been a delay. It's yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Sean? Like this Switch 2?
Sorry, well, I've just missed the entire conversation because I had to let the dog out.
But what do you think, Sean? About what you haven't heard?
Yeah,
well, he's read the Google Doc, so he does know. Go on.
No, really.
You've opened it.
Look, I thought James is hosting this week. Brilliant. I can just show up and coast, and then apparently, like, disappear for 2 minutes at a time when the dog needs letting out. Right, yeah, because, I mean, on the one hand, because obviously a lot of people were saying, like, well, we sort of knew this was the case, right? And it's like, yeah, I think we all sort of hoped it was going to be, like, early next year. So this is kind of a shame, but yeah, also it's not like we were promised anything else, right? So can't get upset about it, I suppose. Yeah.
I mean, it
beyond
does.
that, yeah. Sorry, go on.
It does say that the announcement is definitely coming this financial year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so announced before April, but we thought announced much sooner and release in like March. But yeah, I should say, Sean, nothing's ever confirmed. It's just headcanon. Everyone's like, oh, expect this, but I don't know. I mean, I guess I wonder what we think the release games might be. So Metroid, that hasn't got release date, is it? It's just next. Is it just next year?
I don't think it even.
It's next
has
year.
that.
I think wasn't it next year? I thought it was 2025. They said it was going to happen, or maybe not. Maybe it was. I mean, I'm pretty certain they had a release date recently for that.
I think so, but yeah. So I mean, I'm thinking like, what could they have as like big titles to release? I guess they have already announced. I mean, I bet that Metroid will be one that comes out on both, and the proper version will be out on Switch too. So maybe that'd be a launch title. But I don't know. I mean, I guess apart from that, we're expecting a 3D Mario or a new Mario Kart potentially.
Yeah, you do wonder if this is like they've been sitting on the hardware for ages, but it's just making sure that software library's there for day one. Even if it's just like one or two, sort of in-house.
I think it's probably the other way around. Like they've probably sat on Mario Kart 9 for ages. Like, well, why would we release it now on Switch? Like, we'll save it, we'll optimize it, make it better. Okay, it's now on Switch too. And maybe I think was it? Go on.
Alternatively, maybe they're thinking, can we do a deluxe version of Mario Kart 8?
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know what I would want from a new Mario Kart. And
that's the thing.
And that's
with
partly
Mario Kart,
a failure of imagination on my part, obviously, but also it's just because Mario Kart 8 just felt so sort of all-encompassing. So what else do you want about this point?
They're done with that. They're done with like Smash Brothers. Like, where do you go? Where's the next Smash Brothers go after all those characters and all their stages like next? But it was Mario Kart, but they said they had come up with an incredible new mechanic and it will blow people's minds or whatever. So who knows?
I mean, the anti-gravity stuff in Mario Kart 8 is fine.
Fun.
Yeah.
Like, well, you don't really perceive it, do you? It's like when you're actually racing, you don't really think about it. And then when you see like the replay footage, it's like, oh shit, I was upside down for some of that. I had no idea. What is that noise?
Is someone blowing up an airbed?
What noise?
That answers
James,
that
please,
question.
James, please tell me that was you.
What?
Because it sounded like someone had a motor running. I don't know.
Nothing.
Let's just
I don't
move
know.
on.
Let's move on. Okay. Yes. Switch to April. That's a shame. It gives me more time to save up for it.
Whatever.
We'll see.
I mean, I do want a new one because I'll talk about it in a bit. But the Switch is old. And I'd want that experience, but with something that can run games at more than 20 frames a second.
Yeah, I'm very glad I got the OLED when I did, because the Switch was feeling pretty old anyway. But a lot of people was like, I'm not going to buy an OLED. Switch 2 will be out soon. But yeah,
Really
I'm glad.
isn't, though, is it?
I mean, when was it? OLED was like 2 and a bit years ago. What was that? I think I bought it with Metroid Dread. So yeah, a while ago now. So I'm glad I bought it when I did, because yeah, I think when I like pick up LEDs on, I'm like, Jesus Christ, the bezels on this are ridiculous. You're basically on the screen.
Yeah, I mean, you see, I think it could be the games, because that was one of the things that Switch that they did really well with the original Switch, like with the launch lineup. How they had a pretty, like, for maybe about a year, they had like stuff coming out almost like every couple of months. There was like new things. I mean, even things like ARMS, that came out that kind of kept the interest up like constantly. So maybe they're just trying to keep the same sort of level, for Switch 2. But I don't know. I mean, going back, to another new console, I just can't see how they're going to be able to top what they've done with the Switch. And this is why I'm fascinated to see if it's going to have some weird gimmick.
We know there's there's no way it's not going to have a weird gimmick. There's no chance it will have a weird gimmick of some sort. They won't just do like another Switch where it's got more power. No way.
Are you even slightly tempted with the idea that Sean had for the second screen, like the two screen? Because they love
It's not
that. They love
that
the second screen.
out of this world. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, they will need to do something. I mean, a second screen, I don't know, but and like the thing we had last fold, yes.
Yeah. That would be cool.
That would be
That
pretty
would
nice,
be cool.
actually.
I keep looking at foldable phones, and I really want one, but they're really expensive.
The new Pixel's going to be decent actually for
I don't
foldable.
want that one.
But
I keep looking at foldable phones and thinking, like, if this meant I didn't like need a tablet anymore. I mean, no one needs a tablet. They're nonsense. But I like having a tablet. Like, and like whenever I look at foldable phones, it's like if this could replace the functionality of a tablet as well as a phone, then that's a bargain. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't need. I had an iPad 1, sold it for an iPad 2, and realised, hang on, I don't actually use it because I've got a massive phone, and I think my phone is fine.
Right.
I don't really feel the need for a tablet, but a foldable one, maybe. I'll maybe when Apple release one.
I like the like using the phone less and using the tablet as like, right, I'm going on the internet now.
I'm consuming now.
On the
It's
large,
like a newspaper.
the large rectangle.
Yeah, I'm going on the big internet now.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Stop looking at bad screen. Now looking at good screen.
Yeah, but big foldable screen.
Yeah.
Okay, next story is that there's a rumour that Xbox are going to announce a big game coming to PS5 at Gamescom. So this was first reported by, it's like Shinobi 602, who's on X and everywhere, and talking about that this was going to happen, and it was going to be announced at Jeff Keighley's extravaganza on Tuesday, which will have happened by the time that you get to watch this or listen to this rather. The rumours are that, I mean, okay, what do we think that this could be? Because then I can tell you what the rumours are. So,
I mean,
Matt, what do you think?
What big games have Xbox got?
Well, yeah, that was my question. Yeah, like Xbox has no big games, so what are we talking about? Minesweeper,
ones that you would be like, here's what Xbox is all about. Look, isn't this brilliant? Wasn't there? I think was it Dave was saying in the TCGS group that it might be Forza Horizon.
No, that was me.
Was
that was
you?
me, and
Sorry,
then and David said that would be crazy.
Forza's the one that first comes to mind.
Yeah, like. Yeah, I think Forza Horizon 5 would be amazing.
Yeah, it's an incredible game. So yeah, I mean, obviously if Halo Infinite was better, that would be a big one, but it's not. So
Or Halo Master Chief Collection.
Oh, that would be ridiculous, actually.
The only other one I can think of would be maybe one of the Gears of Wars because there's that new one.
Yeah, new one coming. Yeah.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that,
I mean, the rumours.
Flight Sim?
Flight Sim, yeah, that'd be big.
Flight Sim. That's out soon.
I mean, the rumours so far are Forza Horizon 5 is one of them. Yeah. Starfield is the one that people keep going on about. But I
think a bit soon. I think it needs to be a bit further along its redemption arc before it comes to another platform without everyone laughing.
That's not going to happen. But then the other one that's come recently has been Indiana Jones. I reckon that could be launching as well on PS5 as well, which I think is likely. I mean, the rumor I heard tonight, just before we started recording, was that it was going to be announced that it is coming to PS5 as well, but it'll be in like 2025. So it will launch first
Yeah.
on Xbox, and then it's then coming to PlayStation.
It's going to get to a point soon where Xbox games launch first on PS5, and then they have to wait 12 months for it to come to Xbox. Surely, it's like, what is the fucking point, mate? Yeah, it's a shame. It is a shame. But,
I think we're still in the sort of period where it's going to be sort of proven like successful Xbox releases coming to PlayStation rather than new stuff. But I don't know. We'll see.
Right. Final story of the evening that we have after about 5 minutes, which is a bit worrying because, as I said, news a bit thin this
show.
week. But
this is ridiculous.
Matt, just keep padding. Just you could.
No. I've actually decided.
I love this. Now that James is hosting, he's like, Matt, pad it out.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? You know what? Fuck you, James. In and out. No padding tonight.
Matt, what is your favourite Xbox pad?
Move on.
Final story. This is also from Jeff Keighley. Has said that Hollow Knight Silksong is not going to be at Gamescom this year.
Are you kidding me?
And yeah, the producer has said, this is the quote. You're going to hear the quote.
Oh, hang on.
Just to get this out of the way.
No, actually, I
No
don't.
Silksong.
No, we don't want to hear the quote. James, move on.
All right, fine. I'm reading the fucking quote.
go on.
Okay,
Please
so
do.
Jesus.
just to get this out of the way, no Silksong on Tuesday at ONL. Team Cherry Games is still cooking. That's what they said. So it's still, not there. It's yeah. So maybe next year. You know, it was supposed to come out. I think it was supposed to come out like 2021, wasn't it, or something like that?
Was it 23 or 22 originally?
Yeah, it's announced in 2019.
Was it? Fucking hell.
Yeah. So it's been.
They
a
are
while,
cooking for a
and it's
long
not
old time.
It better be good. Because
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
A really unfortunate point now, hasn't it? Where it's like everyone will be like, "Oh well, presumably this is going to be the best game I've ever played." And if it's even if it's just a good sequel to the first one, people will just be like, "Well, what took you fucking 9 years?" Which is completely unfair. Like, but it's do you know what I mean? It tampers with people's expectations.
Like this is like the latest one. This is the latest one of those. Like, is this coming? I mean, after that, it'd be what? Back to Half-Life 3? Like, this is the latest one of these games where everyone's like, is it this? No, it's not. It's not coming this time. What else is there? There's nothing else out there like that. Like this is there that we're waiting for.
I think what's doubly weird is that, like, it's been a really good year for Metroidvanias. So it's like, are they still tinkering away with Silksong and then being like, oh shit, that new Prince of Persia is really good, and then oh shit, Ultros is really good, and then there's been others as well, like.
So you think they're doing like a Duke Nukem Forever, where it's
it's constantly been fucking hell. Now the bar's been raised
amazing.
Again. Yeah.
Animal Well was kind of
Animal
one
Well,
as well,
sorry,
wasn't
yeah,
it? So
of
yes,
course,
another
yeah,
one there.
yeah.
Probably like, oh, hang on,
Yeah.
let's make it a bit cryptic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Gamescom kicks off tomorrow, Tuesday, which it already would have done. Is anybody excited about this in particular at all?
Gamescom in general, or the opening night live thing?
Let's go with the opening night live first. Is any excitement here at all?
I wouldn't say excitement.
Mm-hmm.
It is interesting that I cannot think of anything that might be shown.
Yeah, we are kind of in that mode at the moment. I'm excited for some Switch games like New Zelda game and obviously Star Wars Outlaws and stuff. But I can't be like, are we going to see this here? Like,
yeah, I think this is prime seeing more of things we already knew about, but I don't think it's going to be big announcements or anything, right?
No, because I mean, like with E3, not E3. Obviously, Keighley was giving it the old, "Oh, lower your expectations. This is going to be really shit. I don't know why anyone watches my show." He does my head in with that.
He does say that.
And he's doing it again with this Hollow Knight thing. The whole but it's not going to be that. Like, just do your show.
Yeah.
Just stop paying attention to what these people are whinging about. Just do your show. But I've lost my train
we
of
just got a
thought.
fascinating thing in the chat. I mean, it's definitely just spam.
Oh.
It was. I mean, I was considering reading
James,
it.
Oh
James,
my
what
God,
has happened to you now?
Yeah, James, you turned into a robot, James.
You've gone full robot.
I started hearing the fuzzing and I thought it was my headphones.
You see, I know. Am I still robotic, right?
Yeah.
Snake.
Make it stop.
Wow.
Oh God.
Hello, James.
I'm back.
No, you're not.
Still doing it. It's
I
still
mean,
doing it.
maybe I'm unplugged your mic or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Still doing it.
It sounds like when your connection, like the physical cable connection, is iffy.
Loose.
Yeah, it sounds
unplug
like
the
that.
mic and plug it back in.
Alright, hang on a minute. I'll come back.
This is being kept in.
Yeah. I hope it sounds like that on his recording. It will do, right?
Should do, yeah.
If it doesn't, I'll do it myself.
Just
it.
take
Direct filter.
Yeah.
take what he says and run it through like the TikTok AI voice.
Yeah.
Hello.
Is my voice robotic?
I'm guessing it probably still is robotic.
Do you
right?
want
No!
the quote?
Oh, no,
It's crackly, but not robotic.
I see. I know 100% what the problem is here.
Oh, yeah,
I
what
know.
is it?
I know what it is. It is the
Skill
connection
issue.
because I'm watching like the megabytes per second or whatever, and it drops right down to like 50 kbps
It doesn't
sometimes.
sound like a connection issue though. It sounds like I don't know, like a processing problem rather than a.
I think you need-
I mean,
need
it
a
sound
Mac.
okay now anyway. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
let's crack on.
That was fun.
I'm sorry. It's just.
Open Night Live. Yeah.
Do it.
I think we are in a point where we're like, you know, a bit of a holding pattern. You know, we know Sony aren't doing any massive exclusives. Not they would show them here anyway because they would probably have their own show. We kind of know what Xbox have got for the rest of the year. We know what Nintendo have got, and you know, again, a bit of a holding pattern until Switch 2. So, yeah, I don't
But
know.
we
So,
did-
what happens next? Where do we go next from all this?
We did all have quite low expectations going into E3, not E3. And that, I mean, for the life of me, I cannot remember what Jeff Keighley's one was like. But the Xbox one,
X1 was excellent. Yeah.
the Xbox one actually ended up being really, really good. So,
Yeah, and they've got a show here, haven't they? I'm not sure what they're intending on showing, but Xbox are doing a show at Gamescom.
oh yeah, they
It'll
do.
be all the same stuff again, won't it? Like, it'll
Well,
be all
that's what
the-
we said
yeah.
about the one in June. That ended up being. It's
decent,
definitely not going to be as good as that. But oh yeah, I kind of figure tomorrow night it's either going to be. At which point, fine. Wasn't expecting anything. Didn't really get anything. Cool. Or if we do get some nice surprises, it'll be a nice little treat.
Yeah, it's weird
But-
because with like Gamescom opening night live, like at least with Summer Games Fest, it was like okay, we were missing E3, he was filling a gap. Video Game Awards was a continuation of the the Spike Video Game Awards, whereas I don't think anyone asked for like a Gamescom opening night live thing, did they? He's just
No.
decided.
It
No,
never-
it's just
Because
it's just Jeff Keighley inserting himself wherever he can.
Yeah.
Because that's what
So to
seems
speak.
to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got his big 3 events of the year. He's got, you know, Summer Game Fest has got this, and he's got the Game Awards. So he's controlling the entire year of game narrative, really, which is
wait until he starts doing opening night live for EGX.
yeah, that's a real one. Yeah, so what Xbox have announced? They've announced a bunch of live streams over the week from the Wednesday 21st until Friday. Like, we're going to see Diablo DLC, Atomfall, which is that Rebellion game, I think. The Starfield DLC.
Yeah.
I did like the look of the trailer for that.
Yeah,
Cool.
Starfield, Nozo Stalker 2, and on Thursday we're going to see new Star Wars Outlaw stuff, which obviously I'm incredibly excited for, to see that Game of the Year content when that comes on Thursday, and then some Fallout, and then we're going to see some new Indiana Jones stuff, or more Indiana Jones, shall I say, on Friday, along with Avowed and Ara History Untold. So a lot of these big headline ones are the ones we saw at that more recent developer direct from Xbox. Yeah, but hey, yeah, I mean, it'd be great if there's a surprise or two, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's kind of the end of the news for this week. So I think maybe we move on to what you've been playing. I'm sorry, I've got to have a look at the list because I don't remember what people have been playing. I mean, maybe we could start with Sarah because she hasn't been on for quite a long time. So, Sarah, what have you been playing?
So I've been playing two free to play Eastern games.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of a theme. The first one, I can't remember what it's called. It's either the last Descendant or the first Descendant.
It's the first
It's the
Descendant.
first, I think. Yeah.
Cool. I think last night I called it the last Descendant when I was talking about it with my partner, and he goes, "Isn't it the first?" And I was like, "I genuinely have no
one of
idea."
them. It is
Doesn't
one
really
of them.
matter. Does it? To be honest,
It is.
it's a game, isn't it?
There is not an original thought in that game.
No.
So, what kind of a game is it? Because I don't know anything about this
It is-
Well,
whatsoever.
you do, James, because I talked about it about a month ago. But
Yeah,
Did you?
not just that, but I don't know about you, but
then-
my entire Twitter feed is full of adverts for this game in
Oh,
like
really?
the month leading up to it or after it. Yeah, it's like every other tweet was another tweet about this. But yeah, obviously, also Sean talked about it on the podcast you do
mean,
most Mondays. James.
I would say about that I mean, Sarah couldn't remember the name of this, and it does have a very generic
Well,
sounding name.
I was going to
so-
say, yeah. I mean, in your defence, James, I couldn't. There wasn't like a. I don't know if you feel the same, Sarah. There wasn't a single thing to like latch on to talk about. It's just
No,
it's just video game. Like it's.
Now that I've jumped into it, like there are some things to talk about. Most of it's negative, I'll be honest. But like it is really satisfying to play because it is a looter shooter, and you can just turn your brain off and just shoot a load of stuff. And the gunplay does feel really nice. The character movement is like quite zippy, and you have like a grappling hook thing, so you can kind of zip around. Like, yeah, combat is great, and you can just kind of turn your brain off. But it is because it is free to play, and it works more like. See, I thought it was a gacha game going into it. It's actually more like Warframe. So to get new Descendants, you need to have the different items to essentially like craft them. Each item, bunch of them also need a bunch of other items to craft that item, so you have to just kind of grind the same thing over and over again a lot, which apparently is, you know, if you've played Warframe, it's very much like that, but it is so grindy. There are a million different things.
So it's all different kind of currencies and all that kind of thing.
So many currencies, so many items. To get items, you have to get a drop of an item, and then you have to go and do this other event to get these other items, to then go to another event and use the items in that to make this other item, and then you can open the first item, and then it's a random drop and you might get what you wanted out of that. If you don't, you then have to go and get that first item again, then go to the. It is so great. It's kind of needlessly complicated, but I mean I say needlessly complicated. It is just kind of how those games work, because like my partner played a lot of. Oh, one of the kind of fantasy MMOs that I think was from Nexon. I think it was Nexon, and it was the one that Nexon and Amazon Game Studios did together. I can't remember.
It wasn't New World or something?
New
Or was
World,
that
yeah.
a different
I
one?
think it was the New World, yeah. He said that was a lot like that as well. So I think it is that kind of Korean MMO sort of style. I can't even say it looks pretty because
I thought it did.
not when you're playing it. Like, so obviously I'm going to
Yeah.
compare a lot of it to Destiny.
Yeah.
The color palette is very samey. Like, there's some enemies that look really cool, and then there's some enemies that just completely camouflage in with the ground.
Yeah, I don't think I
and-
could describe a single enemy.
No,
I've-
and it's everything. So the kind of big open world, the big sort of open spaces that you go to. The first one you go to, I loaded into it, and I was like, "Oh, it's the European Dead Zone from Destiny 2." Like, it is almost identical. And then you go to a desert, and then you go to a swamp. Like, it is all very, very, very generic. Yeah, loads of the icons are like ability icons, look incredibly like ones from Destiny. It's also things like you go to.
Yeah, I mean, they got done, didn't they? Because, well, not done, but yeah, they changed those the icons after it was.
Yeah,
It was apparently they're basically
it's also
wholesale stolen. Also, like, a very close inspiration of the Destiny.
Yeah, if you go to the, I think they call them like awards. It's basically like the in-game achievement system. The icons for that, like the different categories, look almost identical to the Triumph seals from Destiny. But it's also very much it's got that Stellar Blade issue where all of the female character designs, it's all just tits and ass and long legs, but
Sorry, what was this called again? This is the first
Yeah,
Descendant.
no, James, your internet. Not now, James. After the show, please.
well, like my partner pointed out like a Steam review where someone was like, "Oh, play it one-handed," and I'm like, "But you can't to this because it is okay. The characters have got like needless amounts of cleavage on show. All of the female characters have got high heels as part of their big sci-fi armor boots.
Impractical.
Loads of the like special costumes are swimsuits and like it's, but there's nothing sexy about it.
No.
It's just completely like sanitized and sexless and charmless, and like you'll see the characters like on your like character select screen, and okay, she's got the ridiculous boob window with the massive cleavage, but then she's just got that like just dull dead eye sort of step. There's the voice acting is mostly awful, I'll be honest. It's not great. The writing is terrible. So anyone who wants to criticize Destiny's story for being impenetrable and loads of like sci-fi nonsense needs to go and play the first Descendant. That last thing is never going to stay in my brain, I've decided. Yeah, they need to go and play that, because the thing Destiny works because when you start playing for the first time, those like intro missions are you waking up as a new Guardian, and it's like, cool, you're a brand new Guardian, you've just woken up, you don't know what's going on. So the game and the characters need to explain to you what is going on. In the first Descendant, you just start playing in the middle of this big thing that's going on, and you pick one of 3 Descendants, and they are super experienced, they've been going for ages, like, and you're just plopped right in the middle of this existing story, and it just goes, and I'm like, I've got no idea what's going on. It's
and even then, there's nothing interesting about it.
No,
really.
that's the thing. Like,
what is the story then? Like, what's the reason? Why are you fighting?
What's the
they're aliens, and they've attacked humanity, and there's a thing called the Ironheart. I don't know what it does, but we're going after it. And right now we've got to a bit where, so you meet this other, so like the characters that you play as are Descendants, essentially like Destiny's Guardians.
Of what?
People
what are you
with
descendants of?
Don't know. I don't have a clue. I've got no idea.
Okay.
So you meet another one of them, and right from the start, when you meet him, this NPC, he's an arsehole. He's just, and it's so overblown and like comically badly written. I was like, oh, okay, well, he's gonna turn evil. He's on our side now, but he's a dickhead. He's gonna turn, and he does, and he steals the Ironheart, which is this swooshy thing. It's black and it's swirly. I don't know what it does.
It's powerful.
Yeah,
we're told.
Yeah, because he betrays us and he steals it and runs away. So the bit of the story that I'm in now is we're kind of hunting. He's called Jeremy.
Really?
He's called Jeremy.
That is very sci-fi.
There was a Greg earlier. I've got a screenshot. that I had to take because the boss we were fighting was like clone something Greg.
Is
Get
there,
Greg's
is
bar
there a-
down now.
Is there a Rupert in the game?
Not that I've
I
seen.
think so.
Okay.
I think that's the final boss.
Yeah. But like loads of the other characters have more interesting names.
I mean,
Slightly.
there's the woman in the robot suit with the bunny ears who's
It's
literally
just called-
called Bunny.
Yeah. The first Descendant that I unlocked is called like
Please say
Alan.
Alan.
Something like that. I think Vayner is one I've just unlocked.
Kenneth?
But yeah, but then
Yeah,
just all
Stuart.
but then like all the bad guys are just like Jeremy. and it's like I wouldn't mind it so much if the rest of the writing wasn't just because so much of the rest of the writing is these big ridiculous stupid special names for everything. So you have these really sort of high sci-fi fancy silly names like the Colossi, and I can't even remember any of it because it doesn't stay in my brain because it just
There's
slides
nothing about
right
it sticks,
off.
does it?
No, because
Nothing about it is like, oh, actually, this is interesting. I would like to delve into this. It's all just so like it's fine. Like you say, it's enjoyable enough
to
moment
play.
moment. Yeah.
But then you get into a story bit, and I'm like, skip. I just want to go back and shoot stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and then when you try it, because you have to like repeat missions and stuff to try and get like these not guaranteed item drops, you do the same missions, and it's like in Destiny when you repeat the same strike, the dialogue will slightly change. Doesn't in this, it's the exact same dialogue every single time you play a mission. So there was one I had to do 6 times, and it is the exact same dialogue, and it's yeah.
So
but
what-
I keep playing it because it is just turn your brain off and just shoot things like
Yeah.
yeah.
So what is the
this-
monetization for this?
Are you sort of just done with Destiny 2 now that Final Shape has done its thing, or like is this you thinking, right? Well, fucking hell, I need something else Destiny 2 shaped, or is it or what?
So, I mean, monetization first. I don't actually know. There's a battle pass. I haven't. You can buy currency, and you can use that to buy. It's the cosmetic stuff is ridiculous. So rather than each Descendant having a different skin, they have different head skins, different body outfits, different shaders so you can color them. Different like little like lapel pins, backpacks, makeup. They're all different items. You can also get different, obviously emotes, name cards. I think the grappling hook, you can even buy different versions of that. Like it is, yeah. You can either speed up some of the stuff that you craft. So like when I collected everything that I needed to get a new Descendant, there was then a 16-hour timer.
Oh wow!
As it
Just
was
like
being
mobile
like,
games
crafted.
of old.
I think Warframe still does it, but that's because I think Warframe's been doing it for a while. So I could have bought premium currency to speed that up. and
That's
it didn't.
ridiculous. So if you're playing, it's multiplayer as well, I assume, with your mates or whatever.
Yeah.
So you're playing your mates. Oh, I've got his upgrades. You're like, well, I wait 16 hours to get that new Descendant I've just unlocked, or I could pay the money. Like, no, just pay the money, sir. We're waiting. Well, that's horrendous,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I think if you're playing with friends, you can just, because obviously you get one Descendant for free. You then get another. You then get Bunny pretty quickly, pretty early on. So you can just play with those two and like play with your friends.
So it's not like Destiny where you just have like a blank slate and it's basically about the weapons and like the classes and skins that make your character. Like these different characters are kind of the good. Each base is worth kind of upgrading or changing to depending on your scenario, or you're just
So
have they got different
there's
stats and perks and modifiers and stuff.
So you get there is so much to it. So obviously you have your weapons. Each weapon can equip. I can't even remember. They look like little tickets, and you stick them in.
Yeah.
And then you could also put a bunch of them on your Descendant, and then they have a bunch of like other items which you can equip.
It's a bit.
So
It reminded me of, and I know people who are really into Warframe will get upset at me saying this, but it reminded me of that early days Warframe thing of like, oh boy, I've got all these weapon mods, and it's like plus 3% lightning damage. Or whatever.
it
It's
is.
like,
It's 100% that. I just go through. I like find. I equip the yellow ones, and then I equip the purple ones, and then there's like a handful of blue ones which I'll equip. Yeah, and then you can upgrade all of those, and you need to craft items to upgrade all of those. Each you'll have like your season pass level, and then each Descendant has their own level. So
Cool.
there's like these kind of big bosses that are called like the Colossi, and you can like queue and you literally just fight that boss. There's been times when I've gone into it with a group and we've all died and failed and I've had to restart it. There's times when I've gone into it and the boss has been melted within about 2 seconds. Like, because
So they're like public
it's-
events where other people are in it as well as you.
yeah, like
Right.
pretty much everything can be queued for publicly when you're doing events and like missions out in the world. Other people can join on those. Like, yeah, the sort of gameplay loop of kind of working your way through like these open areas, doing the like little doing the little like missions and sort of public event type things, like that's all fine. And yeah, like the actual like gunplay and shooting is good and is really satisfying, and yeah, you can just kind of turn your brain off and just play it like a fun like looter shooter. But then it's just the story's impenetrable and badly written, and I don't care about any of the characters. I don't care about the story. And then just all the other, the crafting and the sort of power ups. Yeah,
It
it's
sounds like a
kind of
nightmare.
impenetrable.
Well, no, yeah. So, but the shooting, the core shooting must feel good enough that it drags you through with that, or is it actually
Yeah.
also numbers go up, brain feels good?
Yeah, it's
part of
basically
that
that,
as well?
at the moment.
But this is it, isn't it? Like, I think like with like early days Destiny, you know, we had that similar thing where it's like, well, it feels good. Like the structure around it's fucked, but it feels good to play. They will work on it. They will fix it. Whereas with something like this, you're like, no, the stuff I don't like is probably all by design. There's
Yeah,
probably no intention of fixing it.
No.
I've also seen people who are familiar with Nexon, the developer. I've seen a fair few people say, yeah, this game's probably going to be abandoned in about 6 months.
Right.
So,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Never
So
mind.
maybe it's the monetization is too hard that they're. I mean, maybe revenue isn't what it
I
needs to be.
think I think it's more these. I think the monetization is to be expected from that type of game, from that type of developer. I think if you're not used to playing those games, that style of monetization will seem completely nuts. But I think for a lot of people who are used to that type of game, that's all perfectly normal.
It does sound like pretty like aggressive and manipulative to try and get people to part with cash.
I'll be honest. The vast majority is cosmetic. It's cosmetic, or so it's like, rather than do it, if you wanted like a new Descendant, yeah, you can do all of the grinding, get all of the items, wait the 16 hours, or you can just buy it. You can just buy the new character, and when you buy them, you get them in bundles where you'll get like a bunch of the cosmetic items as well. So yeah, like to unlock the one that I kind of had to do the sort of grind from the start, maybe I kind of did it over the weekend in like a couple of sessions. Like it wasn't a huge amount of work, and then it was like Sunday night was when I started like the crafting timer, and then I started playing using that character this evening, because obviously I just let the timer go overnight, so it was kind of fine.
So you had to keep the game on overnight.
No,
Oh, okay,
Because
right.
it's all server based. You can just log out and just leave
Okay,
it, and
cool,
it'll
okay.
carry on ticking over. So yeah.
I thought you were going
This
to tell me
always
you'd
just
have to like
sounds-
put like elastic band on your Xbox controller
Oh,
or something
God,
and
no.
watch you play running around circles.
Nah, it is very much like those kind of mobile game timers. Like you can just log out of the game and just wait or you can carry on playing and go do other stuff. Because that timer took like 16 hours. I crafted a gun, which I think was about 4 hours, and then there's some like consumables to power up stuff, which I think one was about 10 minutes. The others were about like 40 minutes. So you just kind of like craft stuff and then you go off and do something else while it does its thing.
You go off and live your life.
Yeah.
I still don't understand this at all.
That sounds horrendous, actually. To be honest.
Yeah, it just sounds awful.
How many hours have you put into this? Or I mean, I'm scared to ask, but
I
mean, how much that is waiting? Put 200 hours, of which I played 4.
Well, no, because like I said, like when the only like real long craft time was that 16 hours, and I just let it do that overnight while I was asleep. Like, yeah, I don't. This is where I'm like, actually, I've put a lot of that. 14 hours.
Okay.
So for one of these,
And that's been-
Since this morning. That's fine.
No.
So, what else have you had this week?
So the other one is different style of free-to-play game, and it is Zenless Zone Zero.
I really want to hear about this because I've been meaning to try it because it's one of the. Cause is it only on the Epic Store again?
On PC, yes.
Yeah.
But it is also on mobile and PS5.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Windows, iOS, Android, PS5.
Yeah.
So Sean, you haven't played this or talked about it on the show,
No.
right? Okay, I'm just making sure because I've not heard of this, and I'm just wondering.
Yeah, you've definitely seen this because we've had
been
like a
everywhere. It's-
PlayStation Direct or something
It's
where
the
we've seen
new,
this.
MiHoYo game, isn't it?
Yeah. So the new game from MiHoYo, who obviously did Genshin Impact and then Honkai Star Rail. So when Zenless Zone Zero came out, it was because someone I worked with was like, "Oh, I've just started playing it," and I was like, "Oh, they've a new game." Like, I swear Honkai only just came. No, Honkai Star Rail came out like a year and a half ago. But so I tried playing Genshin Impact. I tried playing Honkai Star Rail. Bounced off them relatively quickly.
Like sort of, they're both like immediately like really admirable in terms of what they've managed to fit. Like especially if you're playing it on a phone.
Oh
It's like,
god,
I can't believe this is free. I can't believe
Oh.
this is on my phone. This is
Wait,
incredible.
this-
But also, no desire to actually put any time into either of them. Like,
Zenless goes a whole nother
Okay.
level with that. It is wild. So yeah, I started playing it because I don't know how many other people might remember this, but I played the absolute shit out of a game back on the DS, The World Ends With You.
yeah, good game.
I remember
It is very much like that. That sort of city with the kind of overlaying level of kind of weird sci-fi stuff. Everyone's really kind of cool and stylish in that very sort of over-the-top video gamey, but also could kind of be streetwear sort of way. Like the style of this game reminds me a lot of Persona 5.
Oh, really? Okay.
It is obviously very much that kind of cute anime style, but it's kind of, how do I explain it?
I mean,
Every single part of it just feels like so much, like a stupid amount of work has gone into it. Like why have you put so much work into like this little thing? So one of the menus is like a mock social media feed, and it's where you can get missions from. And there's like loads of fake social media posts with like photos and stuff on it. And that's all original art. Your player character runs a video rental store with her brother. That's like the kind of cover for the proxy work they do. And so running the video shop is kind of a little like sub game. Like you check in each day, open up the video shop, and you've got to pick tapes to go out and display. Every single one of the films has got its own unique cover art by like a unique artist. And I'm like, you could have just used, like, I would have hated if you did, and I wouldn't be playing it if you did, but you could have just used AI for that, and
I
they
was going to
haven't.
say, yeah, that's the sort of thing that, studios
Yeah.
might be tempted to,
Yeah. Soundtrack
sure they
is
didn't?
incredible. No, they have. You can tell like it is genuine art because a lot of it is really, really, really good. The writing is brilliant. The characters are all absolutely fantastic. It's quite funny. You'll have the kind of it tells the story through those kind of visual novel, like just the characters kind of stood there talking. But they're all really nicely animated. But then it'll also go into like full animated cutscenes, and the animation quality on those like proper cutscenes is incredible. And then it'll also use these kind of like comic book pages, like voiced over comic book panels, and the quality of the art in those is incredible. Combat is like gameplay is basically, it's this kind of future Japan inspired city, and there's these hollows have opened up, and they're basically kind of big domes, holes, and within the hollow, within like the space, it's everything's kind of weird and changes around. People get corrupted. There's these kind of horrible creatures that you fight, and your player character, she's what's known as a proxy, and what the proxy does is basically helps people navigate through the hollow, because within the hollow things change all the time. And so when you're exploring the hollow, the way the game represents it is it's a wall of TV screens, and you move between the TV screens, and there'll be, little icons which will do different things, and that basically kind of represents like moving through, and it looks really, really cool. Like all the TV screens have that kind of like CRT sort of static. They're all CRT TV screens, so you have the slight kind of curvature on them.
You've got like scan lines and all that kind of thing. Like,
Yeah, it has all of that. It all just looks really, really cool. And then when you go into combat, it is that kind of like action, sort of Devil May Cry style, like action combat. I don't know how to describe it.
What I forget the term. Like character action. No, what's the term? Is that the term they use? I forget. For like you sort of, Devil May Cry / Bayonetta /
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very much that. It is quite deep. So like you'll take 3 characters at a time. You can switch between them like within combat. You have like if you time switches between your characters right, they'll do like sort of like linked attacks. And combat is just absolutely fantastic. It can get really, really deep, can get really, really, really difficult. I am obsessed with it. Like you also kind of have each day you can basically text 3 characters that you've unlocked to have like to just like hang out with them, and you build up their relationship with them. And it once you do get their relationship to a certain point, it will unlock extra abilities like in combat and stuff. And they're just really, really cute little moments. Like all of the characters are so well written, so well voice acted that you kind of do really warm to them. It is the complete opposite of the first Descendant. Like you actually really genuinely like the characters. The story's really good. The stories are quite funny at times as well. Like it's just so well written, so well acted. Music's incredible, combat's incredible. There's just so much of it where I'm like, you didn't need to make this look as good as you have. Like it's I mean I downloaded it on my phone, and then I downloaded it on Epic, and then my controller on my laptop stopped working, so now I've downloaded it on PS5. On PS5, I've done nearly 60 hours. I don't know how much. I'm like Internet level 50, which is quite high.
Is there any like cross progression, like into like can you play it cross platform and
It's all tied
You
together,
can.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just log into my phone and do like the quick dailies, and then when I want to do like the longer bits and pieces, then I'll do it on PS5. Yeah,
Are
it is
the
really good.
controls all right on phone?
It's not as precise. Like some of the more difficult fights, I wouldn't want to do on phone. But yeah, the easier stuff and the easier sort of fights, they're absolutely fine. Yeah, it's perfectly serviceable. Yeah, I love it. It's just
it sounds nice, especially if you've got something that looks really good. Because
Oh,
I mean,
it's the style through all of it. Like obviously, you know, it is a gacha game, so you want to have the characters looking cool because that's how you get people to buy them, and it absolutely does that. All of the characters look so cool. There's a bunch of like different factions, and one of the factions is Victoria Housekeeping, and they're basically like maids, like the kind of maid outfits, but each one is based on a different horror movie character.
All right.
So you do have, in this game they call them Thyrans, and it's basically like furries.
Right.
So you have your cat girls, you have one of the girls in this housekeeping company. So it's all that kind of like gothic Lolita maid stuff. So she is a shark Thyran. So she has a big shark tail with like these cool like decal stickers that she's stuck on them. And she's obviously in her like kind of gothed up maid outfit, and she's super cute, and I kind of really love her. And then one of the other characters in it is basically she's a ghost, and she's got two little robots with her, and they're essentially like little ghosts, and she kind of floats around. And then there's another one who's a wolf, and he's obviously like your werewolf. Yeah, character design is ridiculous. It is so good.
Sounds
this
nice.
is something which was missing because like one of the things that you see, I mean, I played Stellar Blade and I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed that primarily, honestly, for the combat because it was really well put together. It was really enjoyable, to engage the boss, particularly like boss battles and stuff. And they spent a lot of time modelling the main character in that game, but not a lot of time with most of the rest of the characters, and it never looked like a completely coherent world, because of that. Because you just felt like, yeah, I know I'm just playing with this character, and yeah, the other stuff doesn't matter. But it sounds like this is not the case. It's like they've across the board. This is like work has gone into everything.
Pretty much, yeah. You do find that the sort of combat locations get a little bit samey, but at the end of the day, they're just arenas, really. Like the breadth of the enemies that you're facing makes up for that. And also, as well as it is clearly they are looking at how long Genshin's been going, how long Honkai's been going. So this is this is obviously meant to be a game that's going to last for a while. So we have just had, I think it's the 1.1 update, which added a bunch of extra story content, and I think has kind of laid the groundwork for newer characters and like newer story content to come in as well. So yeah, I love it. It's so good, and the music's so good as well. It's like you can go into like your player character's bedroom, and there's a jukebox, and you can just listen to all of the in-game music on it, like on your phone.
It's cool, like as I said, bouncing off their previous work, but sort of admiring it from the distance. It's always been nice because you can try so many like free-to-play gacha style things, and obviously loads of them are genuinely really shit, and you always think like, but surely someone could make. There's no reason there can't be a good version of these, and it feels like it really feels like MiHoYo are the ones really pushing it.
Yeah, because I mean, I have put some money into this. So there's been like 2 season passes now. I've picked up some of like the kind of smaller bundles and stuff because like I said, between the platforms, I think I've easily put at least 70 hours into this.
Oh wow!
So
It reaches that point, doesn't it, where it's like, well, I would have paid 40 quid for this if this was like anything else, like at least
exactly.
That's what I did with Fire Emblem Heroes. I would have put £200 into this anyway. I would have bought it probably.
Yeah,
so
you might as well.
Why not?
But the game is super generous. Outside, like you don't really need to put money into it because the game is super generous with giving you the sort of premium currency through just by playing the game, the timed events. There's so many different things you can do that will get you that currency that you don't need to put money into it, and you'll still get a really good experience from it because there's also no PvP element to it.
Right.
So because there's another gacha game that I've been playing, kind of starting to drift off from it. They kind of really dropped the ball on it, called AFK Journey.
Oh yeah, I did try this. Again, it seemed like really nice production values and stuff, but I didn't stick with it.
The support has not been there for it. But the issue with that is, there is quite a big chunk of PvP, even within like the PvE stuff. There's still leaderboards, and then it's like the direct PvP arena. So unless you do put a shitload of money into it, like you're never going to get to the higher parts of the leaderboard because that's where all the whales are. Whereas with Zenless, it is entirely single player. So if you don't want to pay, you don't have to. You might get through the game a little bit slower, but there's no competition there, so it's not an issue.
Cool.
Yeah, I put a little bit of time into Genshin, and I did enjoy what I played, but I was already worried it might consume me. So, but I was really impressed at how good looking that game looked on phone. I think, I played on phone on PS5 at the time. It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt very Breath of the Wild actually at the time, but
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I think Matt, you and I have been playing the same thing. I think this week, although I think I've probably played a bit more than you have. So this is like 1000x Resist, which we talked about last week, and I was not aware of this before. I think Sean and Matt, you both mentioned it. And then I looked up the previews and I thought this looks quite interesting because
it looked like more your sort of thing than anyone else's, I think. But yeah.
I mean, really, it's a kind of a third-person visual novel almost, really, where the majority of the gameplay is basically going from location to location, talking with people to resolve the story. And I mean, the first impressions of the game, for me anyway, really weren't great. Because it looks and plays like a PS2 game, like it really does. Like visually, it looks really rough. Like I would say.
But like we should say, like the reviews for this have been astronomical, haven't they?
Yes.
Like,
yeah, very very good.
And I'm going to say good
genuinely
things.
So groundbreaking. But as you say, like all the trailers and stuff I saw, like didn't necessarily put me off, but I was just like, it does just look like a visual novel. And that's kind of it. I don't like. It wasn't immediately obvious what was so sort of groundbreaking about it, but
yeah, and that's part of the problem, because part of the problem I found with the game as well is that it throws you, like, you start the game and it throws you straight into the story which is quite esoteric anyway, but with no context whatsoever really. Like you have no real idea what you're doing, why you're there, what you're supposed to be. I mean, it gives you instructions to what you're supposed to be doing, but not really why. What is the point of this? And this becomes a bit irritating, I think, to begin with. And I mean, the other problem I had, which is just a minor technical problem, is the font size on this is really small. Like I would say, like ridiculously small, and you can't change it either. Like,
what is it you're playing on?
Oh, this is the thing. If you play it in handheld, it's generally fine. It's not so bad. But I was playing it on TV, and it's like,
oh right.
It's quite far away and you really can't read the text very
Okay.
easily.
Yeah, I'm playing on Switch on the TV and seems okay for me, but maybe I mean my eyeballs are touching the screen, so maybe I'm close enough, but I mean the opening bit, I was just like, what even is this? I mean, I went in without I saw maybe some like review scores and new people were praising it, but I didn't really know anything about who you were, what the game is, what you do. And I thought, well, let's just go in blind. But my God, I just like, what? Who are these people? And not just that, it's like the language they're using. It's just so kind of ethereal. It's just so out there. I'm like, what? There's no way to know what I'm doing, who I'm doing it with, like what the point of the story is. Yeah, the opening was overwhelming, and I was like, what? It's just what are we even doing here? I think I said that to you, James,
Yeah.
and
And
Sean. But
It's
yeah,
funny, isn't it? Because that sort of thing can work, but yeah, I often get this frustration of like I just wish me from 5 hours in the future could be like, just chill out. That it's going to be this will all make sense at some point. Don't worry about it.
yeah.
Because yeah, I have that initial frustration, and then 5 hours in, I'll think like, I wish I could replay the intro, just sort of knowing that it will all make sense later. But yeah, initially it can be frustrating.
And I think that's why I'm not gonna spoil this, but I'm gonna give a bit of the background to the story actually, because I think if anybody is interested in this, I wish I'd have known some of this when I first went into it. And I mean, it seems to be that this, from what I can gather so far, I mean, I'm only up to chapter 4, and it has 10 chapters. The game's probably about 10 to 11 hours long, from what I've heard. Each chapter is around an hour or so, and the game is based in a future where society has changed really significantly because seemed to have been some sort of event which was based around a virus or some sort of pandemic or infection.
yeah,
And what happens is the people that are left behind, they're all following this person called the All Mother, who turned out to be this a girl in the past who was immune to the virus. And she was like taken in and experimented on, and they took parts, and then they cloned like her character basically.
Right.
And then what you're doing is you're taking the part of a character called the Watcher, and you spend your time looking through recreations of her life and of other people's sort of lives to try and piece together really who this person is, why what happened to them, why this happened to them, and that's about as far as I've got through this. But what's really interesting is that it's a lot of this so far to me seems to be about like the experience of like diaspora, like people
Yeah,
that
I've
are
read this,
like moving
yeah.
to other countries and stuff like that, because it turns out that like the main character that you're sort of observing, her family are from Hong Kong, and I think they moved to Canada. I think it's Canada. I can't remember. And you get the whole sort of backstory of them trying to fit in as immigrants into a new society, and how difficult that is to also try and retain your roots as well, and the way that then also you get sucked into having to befriend other people that are from the same place as you, but then maybe you don't really want to be friends with them because you're not just friends with somebody because you're from the same place. It's like that doesn't always happen. And I mean, some of these things I could kind of relate to because we've done this a couple of times, like moved to other countries, and it's I found the way it was put across was really, really effective, and particularly the struggles and the stress that it puts on your family as well. I thought was really interesting. But I mean, as I said, I'm only into chapter 4 so far, so I'm not that far in, and I'm just quite fascinated to see where it's going because it has such an incredible atmosphere, like the whole game. Like with particularly like the soundtrack again is like it has like these like piano moments which just it sounds, as Matt said, it's like really sort of like ethereal sort of sounding, and you do feel like you're kind of like unlocking some sort of, this is going to sound ridiculous, like that you're looking at like some sort of like element of truth about things. It's very difficult to explain what I mean by this, but I get a very strange feeling from playing this game. Something I don't like. Sometimes you get this from a film like you watch, where you feel like this is actually speaking to you in some way to make you think about things maybe slightly differently to how you had before. And I'm getting that from this, and this is why this feels really interesting to play. I mean, each chapter, when you go into these sort of remembrance of these different areas, sometimes it slightly changes like the gameplay, like whereby on I think it's chapter 2 it switches to like to first person instead, so you're like walking around this like apartment, picking things up, looking at them, the usual sort of visual novel kind of things. But it's the way that this is presented to you just feels so strange and so sort of otherworldly. It's really interesting and really, really cool.
yeah. It does feel. I know, like you're saying about the visuals and about being looking PS2. It has got a style for sure. Like
Yeah.
so, you have this like chapter 0, and then chapter 1 is when the game properly starts, and you're in this school, and it does some really nice stuff with kind of like with shadows, and like there's some bits where like I was thinking when it's like a bathroom, and just like as you're walking through, just like the quite simplistic shadows and colors they use are quite striking actually.
Yeah.
But one other thing in that level as well is almost like it's like Resident Evil, where it's like fixed camera points.
Yes,
So you're kind of
yeah.
exploring like the environment, which again it felt a bit. And janky is the wrong word, but it didn't feel very smooth, and you
Yeah.
didn't feel
Well,
like
the
you're gliding
movement-
around the area. Yeah, the movement feels very kind of
Yeah.
stilted, and okay, turn left, go up there, turn right, and someone's got a little bit stuck, maybe on some scenery, but that kind of almost adds to the charm. It does feel weird and old, but I think with the story, kind of the themes almost align with that. I'm not sure if that's what they're going for, but yeah, music. I don't know you just spoke about it, but it's really kind of. Or you're almost otherworldly. It's really atmospheric, and if I've had it on pause, and it's just like playing in the background. It kind of, I don't know, like the way like the bass goes in and out. It's almost like kind of I don't know, at least in the early levels. Not sure. I'm sure it's will change, but almost like kind of spooky kind of background music. Yeah, I think style wise, it's killing it. It's really
Yeah.
nice.
I mean, the only thing that I found a bit annoying in parts of the game is it does tend to sort of drop you into areas that are almost pitch black, and then you have to try and figure out where to go, and it's quite annoying sometimes because sometimes you're like just looking around and like, I don't know where I'm supposed to be going. If you you get that thing sometimes when in games where you're like, even if you're pushing forward on like the stick and like moving around, it's like I don't know where I am or like how this is impacting my position in the space, and you get that a bit with this, but generally. Yeah, I managed to find my way.
Yeah, I had that in the
eventually.
courtyard. There's like a courtyard of a school, and it's like often doors are open and you can just walk through them, but then there's like another bit which maybe it's because of the use of like black and shadows. I was like, is that a doorway? No, that's just like a dark corner which I can't move through. There's like another great. I mean, is it a spoiler what the major mechanic in this, James?
Yeah, I think we we can mention this. I think because I mean the other thing about it is that when you go into these sort of recreations, you can also kind of control time, whereby it's not. I'm not really. Is it time? It's like instances.
Well,
isn't it? Like,
yeah. I
that
mean, you're going back or forward to different time periods in the same location.
Yeah.
And again, at least in the first level, you are wandering around school and trying to like talk to different people from different areas. And in one time zone, the door is locked, and in the next time zone, there's nothing in front of the door. So I go through, then change the time zone back to the previous one, and then I'm seeing the people from that specific time period in that location. Which I think is like a really interesting kind of idea for like for dealing with puzzles and whatnot. I think it's really nicely done, and I think I think there's going to be multiple time periods where I'm gonna have to like switch and change depending on who I need to speak to or puzzles need to solve.
But so far, I mean, up to chapter 4, that is as complicated as it gets.
Oh, okay.
Like it's really just like you, and also you flick between these different time periods, and it sort of changes the who's there and the scenery and stuff like that, and it really is just to talk to people, and then you like flip back to go wherever. So it's not particularly complicated, but I'm completely fine with that because I mean, even the dialogue, like Matt said, like at the beginning, the dialogue makes no sense, like at all, really. Like it asks you questions, and then it will say things like the answer will say like hair to hair, 6 to 4, and stuff like that, and you're like, I don't know what any of these things
What does that even
Not,
mean?
not just like, oh, I don't know what these proper nouns are, like genuine, what seems like gibberish at the time. Yeah.
But the more you play it, the more that you actually begin to discover what these things actually mean, because you hear it in dialogue with other people, and then it starts to make complete sense. And then you're like, oh, actually, I do understand what is being said here. They've created their own.
Like, if you go on the Steam reviews, there's people doing that and thinking they're being clever.
Oh, what they're saying, like the common answers, and if you know, you know.
Yeah, like sort of people, like sort of repetition of like certain phrases in the game and stuff that if you haven't played it, they don't mean anything.
Yeah.
But
that's
I
how the
guess
game starts.
That what you were saying earlier, James, about how it's the kind of the experience of like the diaspora and moving to sort of different countries and different cultures. I guess the whole not being able to understand or quite get what people are saying at first, like that is
that plays into that.
Is
Yeah,
like right.
Yeah.
Even if you're speaking the same language, you move to a different area, in the UK, and it's different words, different phrases that like you don't understand. But this sounds
even if you
really
literally
cool.
know, like even if you know the language, there might be.
Yeah, you know what the words mean.
Yeah.
You just don't no, you don't understand the context in which they're being used at that time. But this sounds really, really cool. I think I need to play this.
And it is. I mean, as I said, I just don't be put off by the opener because it's so. It feels really like, because also at the beginning it feels big as well. Like the environment you're in feels big, and you think, I don't know where to go. I don't really know what to do. The best thing I found to do was just to do what the objectives tell you to do, because basically it's a tutorial. Like, it's telling you like how to navigate and how to get from place to place, and not to worry about that, because that environment you don't seem to go back to anyway, so it doesn't matter.
No.
It's you go to other places instead. So I mean, I'd say this is really interesting. This is a really interesting game. I want to get through to the end and see if it's because I've heard that it really does like employ a lot of like very interesting storytelling mechanics, and that there's also a lot of like big events and things like that happen. And I want to see how that's going to play out, because so far it's very interesting. And I would play it more.
Yeah, there's tons of different themes, and even in the chapter 1 I'm in, like, they're always talking about other kind of elements to the story which seem really, really interesting. So and that on like the backdrop of this pandemic and all that stuff. But I'm excited to play more. I just haven't played as much as I like this week, but really, really good so far.
Yeah,
cool.
It is great.
And so I'm playing on Switch. You're playing on what? So you're playing on Switch as well.
I'm playing
right?
on Switch as well.
Oh, is it just Switch and PC?
It's out on Switch. I think it's on PlayStation as well, or it will be soon. But I don't think it's out on Xbox yet. I'm not sure.
Probably never
it's
will.
probably. Is it on Game Pass, Sean?
It's not on Xbox, James.
I know, but I want you to say it's on Game Pass.
No, it's not on Game Pass.
Damn.
So I'll do mine.
Yes, please. Yeah.
I'll be brief. So Monster Hunter Wilds is out next year. It's too far away, and they've been putting out loads of videos about all the different weapon types in the new game, which they're all familiar, but it's just been cool watching them and sort of spotting minor differences and stuff. And it got me and some of my friends really excited about Monster Hunter again, and then we all sort of went, do you know what? Rise is on Game Pass. I think any of us that had already played we played it on Switch. It is definitely 100% on Game Pass.
I thought this was the Switch game.
Well, it was. There is. Yeah, so I was going to say. So we those of us that already played it, we played it on the Switch back in the day. I say back in the days, and 2 years ago, and it's on Game Pass. So we're like, oh fuck it, let's revisit it. Let's just enjoy a bit of Monster Hunter, since the new one is still quite far away. It's a surprise. It's really good. It's weird starting it now, though. Because Monster Hunter games are very complicated. They have too many tutorials at the start. That's a given at this point. Which isn't so bad if you're playing a new Monster Hunter game for the first time, because you're like, well, I'll sift through the tutorials because I want to see what's new and what's different, right? Whereas actually restarting a Monster Hunter game you have already played is fucking excruciating, because there is no like, yes, I know this option, right? Or there's no, yes, just show me the new things, or yes, I have played this before, I don't need the tutorials. You've got to go through all of them, and fucking hell, it takes a long time.
It's the worst, isn't it? Like unskippable tutorials and stuff. Yeah. It's just
dreadful.
Yeah.
The thing that Monster Hunter always does, and I know they do it on purpose to stop you accidentally like skipping through the tutorials. So like it'll come up and it'll be like 3-4 pages, right, of text that you sort of click through. I say pages, they're not huge, but you know what I mean. It's sort of segmented. So you. Right, yeah, I know this. Mash the A button, A, and then it comes up with like close the tutorial, yes or no, and no is highlighted. So if you just mash A, it'll go next page, close tutorial, no, and it's like no, I do. Oh no, right, skip through them again, then get to that last prompt, then move it over to yes, and then it's such a minor thing, but when you're doing like 10 fucking tutorials in the space of 10 minutes.
It's like
really
the owl from Ocarina of Time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that bastard owl.
Would you like to hear this again? And you like accidentally click yes.
Yeah.
So it's not a big deal. It's just the experience of revisiting it is a weird one. What also is strange is because So the DLC came out for this again ages ago, the Sunbreak DLC. So they went like, right, in order to play the DLC, like because it's harder and it follows on from the main campaign, we'll give you like some really good weapons and some really good armor to just see you through the rest of the main campaign, so you can get onto the DLC stuff, which is fine and very nice of them to do that. But even just starting the game as a new player, you still get that stuff. So we've like, so as I say, so me and the friends we're like that I'm going to play it with, we've all sort of said like, right, are we just going to have an agreement not to use that stuff? Because not to be gatekeepy about it. Like if you want to play Monster Hunter and you want to use the high level gear to sort of get through the campaign, that's fine. But you would then completely skip the, you know, like doing this one monster because you need these certain parts to get this one bit of gear to then give you a leg up for fighting this other monster, and then do you know what I mean? You would just completely miss out on that. 'Cause like, well, I've got this sword that hits really hard anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So that's odd. So yes, we've all agreed to not really use that. Other than that, really enjoying it. Really glad I'm revisiting it.
Is it a significant upgrade on the Switch version?
Yeah,
on
gotcha.
Xbox?
I mean, hot take: the Nintendo Switch is not particularly powerful by modern standards. Because it was like 30-ish FPS on the Switch, so like going from that to playing it in 4K 60, like you can tell the assets in the game were built for Switch, like the texture resolution and model detail on models and stuff is what it is, but it's still quite like it's very vibrant art style. Like it does really work in 4K. So yeah. There's that. I'm carrying on with SteamWorld Heist 2, but nothing really new to say about it yet. Yeah.
So just on Monster Hunter, when is the new one out? This year?
It's next year.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think there's even a rough date. I think it's just 2025. So.
But they're showing a lot of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say we've seen so much recently. I'm like, is it soon? I just hadn't realised the date.
I feel like it can't be
thought
that
it was
far.
soon.
It's really ramping up.
Because it's like the really in-depth like weapon videos
Yeah.
I've started seeing, and like that sort of thing you want to show
Relatively close.
right in
to
the lead up.
Yeah.
Who knows? But apparently it's not till next year. Maybe I don't know. Maybe there'll be something around Gamescom. Don't know. So yeah. That's it from me.
And that's about it, isn't it? I don't think. Yeah. So there we go. I mean, maybe we need to move on to questions, which is wild at this time of the night. But yeah.
If you want to send us a question, go to tcgs.co/dear TCGS. MD Kraboffs says, "What is your coolest move?"
Do you know, I was thinking about this, and when I was a kid, do you know what I used to love doing? I used to love doing forward rolls. And then the thing is, right, I was just thinking about it, right, just recently, right? And
Sarah was not expecting that. She did not expect that's where it's going to go.
No.
I used to love doing forward rolls.
Wait, what, when you're 18? How old are you?
Obviously when I was younger than that, when I was like 10
16.
or 11, that kind of thing. And then I was just thinking, could I do one of those now? And then I just realised probably not.
What?
Like,
It's a forward roll. Anyone
Instantly
surely you
break
could.
your neck.
I don't think I've ever done one or ever been able
What?
to.
You must have done one at
them
school.
as a kid, but I never.
No.
I don't think I was ever particularly graceful, even when I could technically do.
I used to
Yeah.
love doing them, especially
I'm
down a
very
hill. It was great
Yeah.
fun, like doing something like that.
James, I'm fairly sure you could do a forward roll.
I don't know, because I thought about it, and then
It's really simple.
I thought about,
What's
can I do
stopping
this?
you?
Well, I thought about, can I do this? And then I suddenly felt scared at the thought of doing it.
But you're
which
basically on
is-
the ground anyway. What's the worst that can happen?
No, it's like, I don't know. No, but you'd have to do it from like a standing start, wouldn't you? Which is
What?
a bit scary.
What? Oh, no, I mean, forward rolls, you go down and then you put your hands down and you do a roll pretty much next to the ground. What do you
Yeah,
mean
I know,
standing start?
But you still start.
you talking about a
standing,
somersault?
Then
Up
you've
and
got to
just
get
leap
down.
forwards, like.
Yeah, it's not a somersault, James. You go down in like
No,
a...
but you've still got to like get down. I know exactly, but you're still starting. From...
Oh, sorry. It's literally the action of being from stood up to crouching. That's the issue we've got.
It's not that. It's just I just thought about like I'll do it and I know I'll hurt myself and it'll be embarrassing. And so
It's a genuine risk.
yeah.
I'm blown away. I think you can do a forward roll. I think
I might try one tomorrow, and I'll report back.
it sounds like a stream.
And yeah, please film it. Please film it and have someone on standby to phone an ambulance.
Yeah, medical,
Yeah.
right on. And yes, I mean, whole paramedic team. I'm not sure. Maybe
Yeah.
do it in
See,
hospital.
Yeah.
I've done stupid things like this before. Like, I mean, I
What forged rolls?
no,
I
not
was
forward roll, but, like,
crazy when I was younger.
In hospital.
doing things that you think are going to be fine. Like, not about a couple of years ago, like Asher had this like training. Like, those bikes you get for kids that are like really small, and they're like
Yeah, children's bikes.
children's bikes, basically. Yeah, children's bikes. I thought it'd be funny to ride that, and I did. And
no.
it was never the same again after I rode that bike. It was,
Yeah, because Isaac's got a scooter and he keeps like telling me to have a go on it, and it's like, no, it will break, Isaac. It will not be usable after that. Yeah. Coolest move. If I make a coffee with a proper espresso machine, the training kicks in.
Oh, yeah.
And I sort of do it like, even though it's just me in the kitchen, I'll do everything sort of weirdly, unnecessarily quickly,
With a flourish.
as if I've got a queue of 10 people waiting for coffees. Yeah, I don't think it's cool though. I don't think it's not like my wife's ever seen me do it and she's been like, "Ooh, look at that."
It's like, watch you do it, and she's like, I've never been as attracted to you.
Yeah, we need our child now.
So he looks at me like, why are you doing that? What's wrong with him? I did want something about doing. I think it was when Vine was alive.
Ah, the glory
And I
days.
thought it would be really funny to have a Vine account that was called like Cool Guy 2000, and the bio just said like, I like doing normal things in a really cool way.
Go
And
on.
it would just be me just trying to do everyday actions, but like way too fast, or like in a sort of needlessly sort of I don't
Over
know,
the
sort
top
of,
way.
like yeah,
Very
and just
ostentatious.
get it wrong. Like just doing things like walking through a door, but like spinning backwards and then backing into it, like Richard
Yes.
O'Brien in Crystal Maze or stuff like that.
I guess you could start by like the simple handshake, but it's one of those kind of like sideways over the top ones. You know,
Exactly. I'd probably wear a trench coat for every video.
it's not a regular. It's not a
And
regular
sunglasses.
handshake. Yeah,
And
big style.
sunglasses,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe there's X-ray glasses, or the ones you can see behind you with the mirrors.
Sarah, you got any?
No. Simple answer. As you might have guessed from the fact that I've never been able to do a forward roll, like I have very little coordination.
What about the DDP yoga?
I was
Talk about that stuff,
I
then.
was thinking I used to be able to, like, all of that has gone completely out of the
Oh,
window.
really?
Like I am a shell of my former self now. Because like the flat that we currently live in it's a studio flat, but there's a couple of extra walls. Like it's that small. Like there is nowhere I can even.
Big enough for a forward roll, Sarah. Big enough for a forward roll, I think.
No, I'd crack my head on like there's maybe a little bit of space in the kitchen where I could start, but then I would roll into the cupboard.
It's like Connect. You might have to move some furniture around, but
Yeah,
it would be worth it.
I've tried playing Beat Saber, and
Oh mate.
it's
Some holes in the walls now.
I've not. Luckily, I've not done that, but it is you know on the quest when you get too close to the boundary.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Guardian.
Yeah,
appears.
that's just up all the time.
It's
Yeah.
so annoying, isn't it? Because when you first scan the area and it's like, it's not quite 2 by 2 meters. It's like, sorry, I'm poor.
Yeah.
I can't help. I don't have a warehouse to do this in. Because I know that apparently people, like some VR users, were like, yeah, just hire like your local sports hall for an afternoon.
I'm
And
not
it's
going
like,
to do that.
Sounds
Also-
terrible,
also-
but it's sort
also-
of tempting.
Also, I don't even know where that is
Yeah.
here. A sport. I live in South London. There's no local sports hall to go in.
Leisure
There's
centre,
no.
You can just hire
This woman doesn't do
No,
a forward roll, Sean. She doesn't know where the leisure centre is.
Well,
No,
maybe
I
you
know-
should hire
I know-
more
I
sports
know where-
halls.
Yeah.
Do more forward rolls, Matt.
Good point.
I know.
You do.
I know where 2 leisure centres are. They don't
There you
have rentable sports halls because they're Ponzi gym spa things. Like, it's not like I can go down to like the little village hall and
Yeah.
rent that out. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't exist around here.
Damn
But yeah, so I'd love to get back into gym and yoga and all that stuff, but that is going to have to wait until we move house.
Fair dues.
I'm thinking about
Yeah.
getting an exercise bike.
Yeah.
Good shout. They're good.
You've already got an actual bike.
Just don't get a Peloton.
No, you
I
should
was- I was
Peloton's
going
good.
to.
What was wrong with Pelotons apart from the fact that Mr. Big died?
Not
on
everyone
one
has a Peloton in the office that they have free use of. Right,
but-
just-
Oh, that's how you do the Peloton.
yeah. I don't-
okay.
I don't have one at home, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not. I can't afford a Peloton at home. But yeah, we've got one in the gym at work, so
Right.
that's why I love the Peloton.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, massively recommend it, but I'm probably, I wouldn't get one on my own. But okay, exercise bike, good work.
James, get an e-bike. They're the best. I fucking love mine.
But when it's
Doesn't mean
raining,
you're
you won't
not
get out on
doing
it.
exercise.
Yeah, you do. You still get exercise.
Hmm.
Just that you go like 10 times further than you would on a normal bike. It's actually useful. It's the best.
See, where I live is very, very flat, and so riding a bike is great. It's not so bad. But then I got a puncture in my rear tyre recently, which is always annoying, and I need to get tools to fix it. So I took it to the local bike shop and said, "Do you think you can fix this?" And they said, "No, it's fucked." And so
It's just a puncture, mate.
no, it was also other things that were wrong with it. I was riding
right,
it with the brakes not working for quite a long time, which
No
was quite
handlebars.
dangerous.
Right, that is a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
No
quite
front
dangerous. So they were like, "Yeah, don't ride this anymore." So I didn't, and
Okay.
yeah. I
Well,
was thinking
you
about
can
getting an
Maybe
exercise
a new
bike.
get an exercise bike, but obviously that's not going to get you to work.
No, it's
You,
true.
you realise
but-
that they stay in the same place, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a
exercise bikes
downside.
just stay. Yeah,
But, you
so
know.
that's going to help for work
You'll
transport, but it'll certainly
take
get
the
you fit.
exercise bike to the bike shop. You're like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
got no wheels, lads.
Yeah. And they're like, "This is absolutely fucked. This isn't going to get you anywhere."
I've been pedaling for hours and I haven't
Yeah.
gone anywhere.
Yeah, I'm still at home. What is this about?
Matt,
yeah,
Matt,
you should.
what's your coolest move, Matt?
I don't have one. Oh yeah, who else? Oh yeah, I wish I had a cool move. 'Cause
I mean,
if I
you
did, I'd
would-
probably use it every day.
Yeah, I mean, you could say the snowboarding, but we know how well that's worked out for you.
Yeah, that has. Well, I mean, I think it's okay. I mean, first holiday, obviously, I lost the board and I was sick on a mountain. And second one, I snapped my wrist. But the third one, I think I'll be fine.
Third time
actually.
lucky.
Third time lucky, yeah. That might
Or-
happen next year.
Or you die.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
great story either way. Well, someone's got to tell the story if I die. But yeah, if I do die, then they'll just come on the bonus show and tell you.
I was going to say, do we
a
get
great
one of your
story.
colleagues on?
Yeah, that would be
Or-
brilliant,
Or do
wouldn't
you
it?
do it as a seance?
Or if that's possible,
Or
I'll do it. Yeah, for sure. If I get Patreon money as well, then I'll do it. Yeah, if I get a cut. Yeah, I don't have any cool. Yeah, I mean, even when I was on the snowboard, there wasn't any cool moves. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys know of any cool moves that I do? I can employ more of. You know me well enough now. Oh yeah, Matt, what about that cool move you do with the? No, isn't any? Is there? Fuck.
Shall we do the next question?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Kurt Lewin says, hi TCGS podders. The chat around Driver 3 and BBC 606 last week made the question section tailor-made for me, as they're both things that I love. However, there are also things I love I don't like to admit that I love. I feel a bit embarrassed and reluctant to tell people that I love Driver 3 and that I love listening to 606 because everyone else thinks the game is crap and that 606 is a garbage radio show with no nutritional content, so to speak. With this in mind, I wanted to ask, is there any game or other media which you don't like admitting you enjoy because you think people will no longer take you seriously or think you have bad taste?
What is BBC 606?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's the UK's most popular football phone-in.
Yeah, it's
right.
on.
That-
It's on Saturday and Sunday nights, and then also on Monday, depending on football sometimes.
Yeah.
and it's hosted by Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton, and
Yeah.
it's generally pretty terrible.
Generally, yeah, angry fans ringing up on the way home from a game.
Yeah,
So I
mean, it's
can't
fun for that.
believe
So it's
can't believe
like-
that play
it's-
on the wing. What's the point?
It's like LBC and Radio 5 Live had a horrible child.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, it's on
gotcha,
it's on
gotcha.
5 Live, and it's
Oh,
it's like
makes sense.
it's on 5 Live, and it's like I mean, it's occasionally entertaining, and it's occasionally entertaining because
Oh, I
of
think
the
it's mostly
callers.
entertaining.
Yeah,
It's just also mostly frustrating.
like you wouldn't listen to it to get any serious like football opinions or anything like that at
No.
all, because it's mostly just people phoning and saying what I think is this, and then it's mostly not very good. It's yeah.
I don't think this is like a controversial opinion, but I don't really believe in being embarrassed about liking things anymore.
No.
I don't think. I think generally everyone's sort of moved towards just acceptance of whatever they do like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's best to own it, isn't it? I mean, yeah, maybe when I was younger, but like, oh no, I can't say I like that because that's all embarrassing. But no, it's like
Not
that makes
cool.
you, and so it's best just to own it and accept it. And
Exactly.
if other people don't like your opinions on things, then fuck them basically, because that's what makes you.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, obviously there are things I'm like, oh, probably isn't the coolest thing, but if I like them, I like them. So
Oh
I
yeah.
know, I mean, I think I probably said everything that I like by now on this podcast that would be maybe considered embarrassing, So yeah, it's fine. I don't care anymore.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You just got to own it. Like, yeah, the whole bit about people thinking you have. But I know I have bad taste. I admit I've got bad taste in a lot of stuff, but I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah.
Is it a generational thing or is it an age thing? Do you think?
I think it might be a maybe it's a
not be either.
generational thing.
Yeah.
It's
well,
because
but the younger generations will, I feel like they're more accepting in whatever makes them as well. In fact, more, I think as the generations get younger, or the younger, more generations happen. I think the people are like, this is me. I'm like proud to be me, and like,
that's
whereas,
what I mean. It's
And
like,
the
yeah,
fact
so
that
it's
kids are growing up in an age where it's so much easier to find niche things.
yeah,
Yeah,
and find other
exactly, yeah.
people
More
that
ways,
like
yeah.
your niche.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I'm the only one in school who likes. I
Yeah.
don't know, Deftones or whatever. I mean, it obviously
Yeah.
wasn't the case. But, it's like, whereas now, it's like there are communities everywhere for everything you could
Exactly,
possibly
there's
like.
not-
So you feel like you're proud of what you like. And
But within those communities, there's still
there's all the gatekeeping, isn't there?
there's still a lot of gatekeeping. If you think of like
yeah.
Gen Z as kind of super generalizing, there's obviously still a lot of older things that they don't like. So yeah, I think it's an age thing.
There's
But
definitely
there's definitely not the same sort of stranglehold on sort of popular culture that there used to be. Like in
Yeah.
terms of just like this is what is
out,
popular, as a thing.
I
mean,
think Taylor Swift might prove you wrong.
Yeah. I know what
Yeah, I
you
mean, she's basically the biggest artist on the planet right now. But there are so many other things that are also pop. And yeah, there's so many kind of
Skibbity
communities.
Toilet.
Exactly, Skibbity Toilet's massive, yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one. Five Nights at Freddy's was weirdly huge as well.
Still is. Yeah. I never,
Yeah, New Games
Yeah.
Reviewed best
we'll
out of the ones.
never understand that.
Brat Summer. James, you know about Brat Summer?
I do now. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I had to explain Brat Summer to my wife, who is younger than me.
What?
That felt
Well,
good.
I found a video the other day that was Typo Negative performing at, I want to say either Hellfest or Rock am Ring, obviously quite a few years ago before Pete Steele passed, R.I.P. And obviously they've got all of the green. The colours are all black and green. It's
Yeah.
got the black and green base. The green is the Brat Summer green.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it was always Brat Summer. We'd never realised.
There's definitely like, yeah. Even though there's nothing I'm embarrassed about, there are things that I know when I'm recommending them. I know I'm out on a limb, right? In the like, there's an episode of Fraggle Rock which is like, to me, like the smartest commentary on Christmas, right? It's not actually a Christmas episode, but it's a really interesting commentary on people celebrating a thing they don't necessarily believe in, but for their own reasons. And I know when I try and tell people about that, they stop listening, right? Or they're just like, oh, fucking hell, here he goes.
Fraggle Rock.
Really good.
Sometimes it's fun to recommend things like that. Like I find that I will, so rather than trying to like hide the things I think are like bad taste, I will play them up if I know I'm speaking to someone who is a little bit gatekeepy or takes things a little bit too seriously.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite things is Pantera. Pantera are not one of my favorite things. I hate them.
Wow, hang on. You just said they're one of your favourite things.
But no, one of my favorite things is to tell people the best Pantera album is Power Metal.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see the album artwork for Power Metal by Pantera, or listen to it, it's basically them just doing a glam hair metal album. So yeah, if you have someone who is, angry man who takes Pantera far too seriously, it's really fun to just be like, no, that's their best album.
Yeah.
We move on.
Yeah, next
We could talk
question.
about this all day, but yeah, probably should.
It's an interesting subject. Thank you, Kurt. Marie Mendieta says, Dear TCGS questing Simons, James bravely hacked away at Soul of Cinder's stubborn life gauge in Dark Souls 3, but his opponent kept standing and made for a disheartening watch. Bushido Blade on the PS1 had body damage, which maimed opponents and could result in both players reenacting that forest scene from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Which From Software game would benefit the most from said body damage system from a gameplay standpoint? Keep up the terrific work.
Sekiro.
Sincerely,
Yeah. Well, because Sekiro, but with the slowdown time samurai sword thing from Metal Gear Rise.
Oh yeah.
Metal Gear Rise? Revengeance, whatever it's
Rising? Yeah.
Metal Gear Rising, that's it. Yeah.
That would be cool. Armored Core as well. Because that was, that was the theory when the very first images leaked. It was like, oh, there's like a robot that's like picking up bits of other robots from a battleground. Like, what if that's the thing? Is that you just have one robot and you just scavenging as you go through the game? And yeah, couple that with and also your arms can get hacked off or whatever, and you've just got to deal with it.
Or
That
if you
would've been
shoot
really
the jetpack on another robot and then it can't fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
See, I would have appreciated this in Dark Souls 3 as well, to be honest. If you could if I could like cut a leg off or something, it'd be a lot easier.
You're a sadist, aren't you?
You sicko. You're absolute sicko.
Yeah,
need
just like a
to-
leg off or an arm off or something like that. It'd be a lot easier.
You need to get on that murder simulator.
Blade and Sorcery.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That
That's the leg
horrific
off, mate.
game.
It's
I
not
would like to play
horrific.
that.
It just when backed into a corner, you may do horrific things.
You have to react.
Yeah, exactly. What else we got? Aloquitius Dupre says, how many questions don't make the cut each week? And are there any questions that are a definite no?
Lots and yes.
Yeah. I'm trying to think in terms of ones that are a definite no. It's usually, I mean, we've said before, it's what games would make a good TV show, or what franchise and developer would be a really cool matchup, stuff like that.
Yeah, which game should have a body damage system? Blah, blah, blah. Sick of it, frankly.
Bloody hell. It's hard to gauge. So often most of them get cut just because of time.
Yes.
So please don't ever think, if we've ever cut your question, odds are it's not that we thought it was bad. It was a
Yeah,
there
it's
was a lot to-
so rarely they're bad. It's more like we haven't got time for
Yes.
all these. And
and even then, it's not necessarily bad questions. It's more you get a sense for like what I think we might have an interesting discussion around, rather than us just saying something and then moving on. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, if it's like one word answer, move on.
Yeah.
Also, we do get a lot of questions often about games we're speaking about in a week, and
Yes.
we may have often answered them in the discussion and what you've been
Yeah,
playing.
sometimes we'll get a question that's just like, have any of you played such and such? And it's like, yes, and we're going to talk about it. So, or it'll be something that's in the news or whatever. But yeah, just to stress, like, please don't feel bad if things don't make the cut. Because I know, like, obviously it must be shit. Like, if you followed a podcast from being relatively small, and, obviously we're very thankful that this has grown the way it has. But there will be people who are like, well, I used to write in and I would definitely get my shit read out, because why wouldn't I? Because there's only 10 people writing in or whatever. So it must be shit to be like, oh, well, I don't necessarily make the cut anymore because
there's 12 people writing in.
Now there's 12 people writing in.
We haven't got time
You're one
to.
of the two that has to go.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? I can see why that would be frustrating and disappointing. But yeah, there's very little we get in and we just think, oh, fuck.
Yeah, and we do massively appreciate everyone who messages us,
Yeah.
whether it's like for the questions or feedback or just general comments in the week or on Discord, whatever. So yeah, we thank every one of you. But
Yeah, 100%.
yeah, rarely there's shit. Often it's lack of time.
Yeah. Josh Hunt.
Oh no, this was a shit one actually. Don't know why it's stayed in.
I mean, I have just seen this and remembered that I meant to look up an answer to it, and I haven't. So this will be good.
I mean, this is no. I can't answer this question. I have no idea.
I mean,
this is based-
I can, but probably like they're not good recommendations. As in, they're good games, but you know, it's like pushing heroin on someone. So
I think we should hear it anyway.
Josh Hunt says, I recently bought myself a mid-range gaming laptop, having been a console gamer for years. I'm wondering what games you would recommend to someone who hasn't been able to play PC-exclusive games for the better part of 15 years. Love the show, and I'm eagerly awaiting the delivery of my new TCGS shirt. I mean, the question's interesting because actually 15 years ago was a very different time, and actually there aren't that many PC exclusive, like, you know, the worlds of PC and console have blurred quite a lot. Like, off the top of my head, yeah, like I struggle to think of any genuine PC exclusives. Like, most of them have ended up on console one way or the other. What were your recommendations, Sarah?
well, so like when you think PC, for me, you think like Valve. So first I was thinking, oh well, like Portal. No, that came out on console. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, so like
I mean, Half-Life Alyx, but that's VR. But that is an exclusive PC title.
Yeah, like I as Sean was saying, like I genuinely struggle to think of any PC exclusive. Even when you kind of go into like indie stuff, most of that's all out on consoles now. So yeah, the only ones I can think of are League of Legends and World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's MMOs. Yeah, MMOs and.
Yeah.
I mean, Tarkov, is that PC only?
It was what, sorry?
Yeah.
Tarkov?
Yeah, but also...
Into the extraction shooters?
I mean, having a glance at my recently played Steam stuff, so haven't talked about it on the show yet, but Dread Delusion has had like really positive reception. I've only put like 20 minutes into it. It's like a sort of scaled down, very weird sort of Elder Scrolls-y type thing, like first person RPG, but with sort of immersive sim almost qualities. I talked about Islands of Insight. Obviously it's a bit of a tough recommendation now because it was free for a day, but now it's 20 quid or whatever. I do really like it though. Mini Shoot Adventures, that's done well enough that it has to be coming to console, but hasn't yet.
But Latra is not out on...
It's on Switch.
Oh, is it? Oh, of course it is. Yeah, you're right.
It's out on phones as well, isn't it? Or it will be.
It's on its way, apparently. That's why I'm just sort of sitting tight and waiting for the phone version now, because that's going to be amazing. Yeah, and then we're in the realms of like, so there's like Shadows of Doubt, which again I'm not talked about. I've not put any time into it yet, but that's out on consoles very soon. I think that's the sort of voxel, sort of procedurally generated detective game that's meant to be really good. So there's tons like that I'm just like, oh yeah, that is coming to console, so don't worry about it.
I mean, Garrison Savannah's got a good shout in the chat. Fallout London, because that's supposed to be quite interesting.
Yeah.
Just don't buy the Steam version of Fallout 4.
Yes.
So
it doesn't only work with the good
is
old
it GOG,
Games
is it?
version.
It does work with the Steam version, but you have to faff around and it's harder to get it back to an older version that works with Fallout London. So it is much easier to do it with the GOG version.
I think Bethesda even put out official kind of instructions, didn't they? If you want to do it via GOG, I'm sure I heard that on another podcast. And if you want to do it, do this and back. So and also you can obviously import your GOG games into Steam anyway. So yeah.
I'm still just glancing at my Steam list. Cobalt Core, if you like sort of roguelike deck builders, that's really, really, really fucking
you
good.
do, don't you, James?
What's that
James
one?
loves those. Cobalt Core. So you've got little animals on a spaceship,
Oh.
and you make them fight other animals.
Scientologist said that's on Switch, Sean. For
Fuck's
sake!
fucking hell. Escape Simulator. I don't think that's come to console. That's if you like escape rooms, which again I do. That's really fucking good. Hypnospace Outlaw. Actually, oh no, that came to console. In fact, it was on fucking Gamescom.
Is it Factorio?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or any of that ilk. Yeah, those sort of automation.
I guess
ones.
any. Obviously, they're not PC exclusive, but the vast majority of RTSs are gonna work better on mouse and keyboard.
Yeah. Dorf Romantic, which I don't think ever came to console. That's sort of tile placement, like very chill tile placement management game. Well, management, not really. That's really nice. Well worth playing. Trombone Champ coming to VR soon.
Yep.
That's the Christmas concert sorted. Yeah. Other than that,
So I guess what we're learning is, there aren't really, unless you want things like,
Dorf Romantic's on
MMOs,
Switch as well. Thank you, Ben.
MMOs or Dota type style games, and it really kind of isn't what it used to be in terms of exclusives.
No, not really. High Fleet. That's a game I bought and never played. Apparently, it's a really, really complicated sort of steampunk spaceship combat / management sim. It sounds absolutely nuts. And I really like the look of it, but everyone's like, it's fucking impossible to get into. But that's part of the fun. Pretty sure that's PC only.
I bought the Banished Vault based on you talking about it,
yeah,
Sean,
yeah.
and also how it looked.
Terrifying game.
Yeah, I've not played it because every time I've gone to play it, I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't think my brain is cut out for this, but it just looks so cool.
Does look very cool.
Yeah, there are a lot of, if you like your kind of weird little horror games. There's the I mean, if you've played and liked Inscription, there's Daniel Mullen's first two, earlier games, The Hex and Pony Island, and the sequel to Pony Island is coming out at some point. But there's also, they're on my wish list. Oh my god, why is this app so bad? I think they're called like Dread XP. And they're basically like a little collection of just like weird experimental like horror games. Is it Dread XP? Yeah, Dread X. It's the Dread X collection. The first one's a £5. The 2 and 3 are like £7. Yeah, and it's just a bunch of like weird little horror games. There's also what's the guy does the Shinkansen Zero, where you're going down. You basically have to. You start off in a train carriage and you walk down, and basically, if there's something weird in the train carriage, you have to turn and go back.
Is this not the? Is it Exit 8?
Exit
It's
8.
the same guy who did
Right.
Chiller CHILLA, Chiller's Art, Shinkansen Zero, and then Exit 8. Yeah, lots of cool, weird little horror games on. Also, Click Holding as well. I did play and complete
Was that any
one.
good?
That came
Oh
out.
yeah, I heard about that.
It's an experience. It's very strange. Life Eater as well. I've been really wanting to play by the same devs.
Strange
which
Scaffold are bizarre. The rate at which they keep putting stuff out whilst seemingly treating their staff
really well.
is-
I played the demo for I Am Your Beast. It is not my type of game, but it's the kind of game that I wish it was, because it is so cool.
Yes, but I was
best-
shite at it. So,
Best thing to do is when there's a Steam Next Fest on, just download a shitload of demos and play a load of stuff through that, and you can normally find some really cool stuff in there.
100%.
Okay,
Road
that's enough
Warden.
PC gaming.
Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike. It's a great game. Road Warden. Have a look at Road Warden. Imagine The Witcher if it was a low-budget, mostly text-based indie game, basically.
Hey,
Really fucking good.
you needed padding.
Okay, that's enough
There it
PC
is.
gaming. It's enough PC gaming. Can we move on, please?
Also,
no,
that
this'll be
that
a nice-
Space Cadet 3D pinball game and Minecraft.
I missed that.
This will be a really short one. Pietrick says, "Hi lads,
Oh,
loving
we
the
don't
show
have
as
to do
always."
this one.
Here we
We
do.
don't have to do this one.
Here we do. Here we do.
No,
Yeah, we
don't.
do. Was that a classic Farley fart at 1 hour 34 minutes 19 seconds in episode 414? I went and checked. No, it wasn't. It was a chair creak. It was James, but it
Yeah.
wasn't a fart.
Well,
It
I
was
think we
a-
should hear it anyway. Does anyone else can decide?
Oh, you got it queued up.
I've got it ready to go. You ready?
Amazing.
And it was really painful for doing quarter turn, like Dragon Punch, fireballs and stuff. But anyway, I digress. What happened was, he got it for Christmas. He knew where his
I'd be
parents had hidden it.
Worried
That
if
is-
that
that
was
is-
a fart.
That is
That was,
definitely a chair.
That is 100% fart. James?
That is not me, and that is.
Well, it is you.
100% is you. I checked.
It was the pause.
Yeah. Like he,
That's why it does
gave
sound a
it
bit
room
like it's been
to
added in.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Not.
Should we hear it one more time?
No,
Yeah, go on then.
let's move on to the next.
No,
I
let's
mean,
do it again.
What happened
like,
was,
it is the chair. Seriously.
No, I know it's the chair, but it was you. That's
Why
what I'm
did you
saying.
shit yourself on the podcast,
Yeah,
James?
James.
I think you're mistaken.
That's
me
my
for
question.
David. It's
Why did you shit your
Why
pants,
have you
James?
replaced your guts with
Yeah.
rusty pipes?
Use a toilet like everyone else. Not this podcast.
Can we have the socials, please, Matt?
Hang on, there's one more question yet.
Yeah.
Do we have to
Just
do it?
Shields says, "Evening team, hope you're well. What is your ideal sandwich meal deal makeup, and where are you buying it from? For me, Tesco, chicken and bacon, Walker's prawn cocktail, and Iron Brew. Cheers."
That is strong.
That is strong. It's Boots for me, and basically my choices are only Boots and Asda. Asda ones are fucking dog shit. Boots you can sometimes get. They do those. They're not amazing, but they'll be like a katsu chicken one or whatever.
Yeah, I fucking love a katsu chicken.
They're alright. Like just little rice bowls, with,
M&S
Oh,
got
yeah.
M&S
I've
got a
had-
new katsu chicken sandwich, and I checked the fat content. It's like 16,000 grams. It's like, I'm good, thanks.
Fine.
It's not fine. Sorry, Sarah, what were you saying?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, the rice bowls that Sean had. They do the gyoza, like veggie
Yeah,
gyoza.
yeah.
Those are really good.
Crisps, I don't really mind. I'm not that fussy. But
I
then
know, I
the
go- I
drink,
get
I will always
popcorn.
go for value for money, so I'll get like a Purdy's or what you want. The drink has
Oh,
to
right.
cost about £3 on its own, basically. That's
Yeah,
the-
just thinking of value, thinking of money you're saving on that.
yeah.
Yeah, I would normally go for the proper corn because they're healthier than crisps, and maybe, well, depending if I'm hungover with Luke's Aid Sport, maybe it's a full fat Coke after that. Yeah, I mean any kind of chicken club sandwich would normally be the one I go for because why wouldn't you? I love it.
See, I like the duck wrap. I like one of those.
I like it. But the
nice
thing with the
duck
duck wrap is that a cheap one is fucking nasty.
That's true. Yeah, that is very
Like,
true.
Like the duck should not have died for this. Like,
No.
it's just not. It's not good. The M&S ones are really good.
Okay,
We're done. What a way to end. I think
That
we're
bombshell.
can we have some socials, please, Matt?
shit duck. Yes, we stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/TCGSco. You can watch this podcast recorded live every Monday night, or you can watch some of us do gaming streams every week. And if you miss them live, you can go on YouTube and search TCGS and you'll find the VODs back onto Twitch. If you've got an Amazon account and a Twitch account, connect the two and you get something called Twitch Prime Gaming. And with that, they give you $1 a month to give to any channel you want. And why not go over to our channel and give us that because we really, really do appreciate it and need it actually because Sean's card's fucked.
Well, it's not anymore. It's just now my
no, it's fixed
bank
now,
account
yeah,
is
yeah.
instead.
Rema Laptar's literally just subbed in the chat, so thank you, Rema Laptar, for doing that by connecting their Twitch account and with our Amazon account. What else I told you? Yeah, we're on Patreon, patreon.com/TCGS if you want to support what we're doing over here. We got exclusive monthly bonus podcasts on there, talks overs, gaming streams. There's a whole number of ways to support us by going to patreon.com/TCGS, and the website is tcgs.co for links to our gorgeous Discord community. It's getting busier every day, so if you want to talk with like-minded gaming fans in your area, why not go over to our Discord and or play, Helldivers together? There's like the voice channels and all that kind of stuff. But also on the website, there's our new store, tcgs.co/store, to get the Farley t-shirt, tote bag, hats, new hoodies, t-shirts, the lot. And that's it.
Okay, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
David will probably be back next week, I'd imagine.
Yep.
I mean, thanks for getting through this. And
that's your exit. Like we've got. Thanks for being natural. Thanks for living it. Thanks for getting through this.
Yeah. So thanks for getting through this, and we'll be back next week.
It's like Daniel Bedingfield's in the room.
Yeah.
Bye.
He's a singer, James.
Yeah. Pop singer.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.